George Morgan here and Jack Kinnett.
All the lights are currently lit here on track. And it is go, go, go! Donoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Judo countdown, Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Borman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to PSGL E-Series for the final round of season number 5. And this is always, Josh, the best and the worst part of the season because, first of all, we get to crown a champion out of 3 possible teams. Obviously, we know it's most likely to be TES, but VA and Race can still get themselves involved in that battle. But the worst part about this is we're not going to be here for, 6, 7, maybe even more months before we have season 6. So it's going to be a bit of a temporary farewell to E-Series. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can't hear you. You're joking me. Oh, my camera's zooming again. I said to you, what did I say, Josh, before we went on?
I can't repeat it.
But it was literally something about audio.
Bro, you're asking me to say something and they can't hear me.
Right, we can hear him now. There we go.
Okay, can we hear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Roger Dodger. Right? Okay, no more tech issues. Nathan, please don't go out and do horrible things to people like you said you would if there was audio issues. We need to move past this. Audio issues, E-Series, they go together.
They do.
Like crackers and cheese. It's a phenomenal combination. Not ideal, especially before you're about to go to sleep, but nevertheless, it should be a fantastic race, and all these drivers put in so much effort, so much time. It's a shame we're not going to be able to come back on the F124 game, but it is what it is. These drivers now know what's at stake. They know this is the last round of E-Series for this game. Those of which have been able to bolster themselves, get a little bit of movement, understand the game a little bit better, have one last opportunity to show what they're made of, and it's around Interlagos. If you want it anywhere, surely it's here, Nathan.
It is. It's a brilliant circuit, and just looking at the standings as well, going into this, it's a big day for one of these 3 teams. Tomaszek Sim Racing, of course, the last 2 seasons have been rather dismal. They've only scored 2 podiums in Season 3 and Season 4. Going into this season, they currently sit on 4 podiums and 3 wins. This has been by far their best season, and maybe one of the best performances we've seen, I'd say, bar Ferrari in Season 3. Veloce Academy, a team that came second back in Season 1. I think they came third as well in Season 4. They're also looking to try and take their first E-Series Championship, and Race Clutch as well. A team that has featured in every single season, has finished second and third on many occasions, but never been able to take that top spot. So hopefully for them as well, they can try and, take that trophy. But of course, it's going to be difficult for anyone to take that away from Tomaszek Sim Racing, who currently lead by 31 points. It would require pretty much a DNF by TES to ruin this, and this is something that they're going to want a lot, but even more so is the fact they've got all the team, or at least 5, I think, members of the team together at an event in the Czech Republic, racing from rigs. They're all together. I think 2 engineers, a manager, and 2 of their drivers are all together. So it'd be great to see them get that trophy all together in person.
Live in person, where they can share the moment together properly, where they're not going to be screaming down Discord with each other, but actually able to share it. As you know, that little community, that little family, which has grown over time, being able to adapt and overcome so many problems they had, like last year, for example, where they just couldn't seem to get anything moving. But of course, with a couple teams dropping out from last year, they've been able to unlock the potential of Jan Halliday and Nelson Alves, who once again will be representing the lineup here today. As far as drivers go, absolutely incredible talents, but they're not alone on this grid, Nathan. Of course, Race Clutch, Lenny Pipinta, Lillian Derbicourt, then of course the Loche Academy. The 3 title contenders have Angelo Duratenzio and Leo Lund, your favourite driver you've ever seen, apart from maybe Dylan Warren, but that kind of depends.
And Will
Personally,
Lewis.
Well, I was about to say, I feel Will Lewis has been a little bit hardly done by because he's not here once again. But, of course, many other drivers on this grid, Topias Koivunen, Keaton Lutt, Julian Klaffenbach, are looking to try and get back again and get himself a cheeky little upset victory, which could potentially be on the cards. Harvey Cohen as well. Then we've got Ferrari, Patrick Sipos and Camille Statra. We know there was some very strange driving last week, if I'm not mistaken, around Baku. Certainly a little bit interesting from Ferrari boys. But nevertheless, they had to do what they had to do to try and get as many points as possible. Pasquale Ranieri, Cryix, Tudor Preshkan, Matteo Longe, who is the brother of Nicolas Longe. So let's not forget as well, he took half a year out of the game. He's come back and he's absolutely incredible. So keep an eye out for him as well. Then, of course, Jerry Van Bussel, Isaac Elite, Elia Tomasetto, and Tony Roche, rounding out the 20 drivers we have here tonight. And as far as things go around Interlagos, I don't feel like we could have asked for a more chaotic grid than this, because each and every single one of these drivers has something to prove.
Definitely. It's a really good grid. One of the best we've seen this season, and I've got to say the grids this season haven't been the greatest. So this is certainly a great way to send off E-Series here on F1 24. And just a quick look at the calendar of what we've had this season. If you obviously are new here, we're here for round 10, the finale of the season, and it's been, in my opinion, the best calendar we've ever had in E-Series. It's been brilliant because you've had such a mix of different tracks, and it's really created some confusing results so that you look at and you'll think, well, generally we wouldn't expect this team to finish in the top 5, and we wouldn't expect this team to finish in the bottom 5. Like, that is what this kind of has created. Such a big mix has dropped people down into some poor positions, but also raised some teams into some really top positions. But we are on track for the finale of the season, and firstly, going out on track will be one of the TES cars of Nelson Alves once the game shows onto the screen. There we go.
There you go. Lovely stuff. Of course, going out on that intermediate tyre, once again, there's no need for umbrellas. They do it for a little technical reason, just to make sure all the wheels are working and we're all happy with how everything's all set up. It's absolutely normal, so don't worry about it. There's not a graphical glitch. There's not a feature for the game to not show any rain. They're just out there having a little bit of fun at the moment, and they won't be alone. Many other drivers hopping out on the intermediate tyres, because at the end of the day, they want to save those softs. Those softs are going to be like gold dust in this qualifying session. Interlagos, such a short lap. You're going to want to have as many fresh compounds as possible for the latter stages of qualifying. The risk comes where you decide to go out on a used set. You might not find that improvement you were initially looking for. Next thing you know, you're potentially exiting in Q1 or Q2. The drivers have just got to make sure they focus, they nail themselves in, and they're able to adapt and realise that scenario they're in, which is where having such a good team, having great engineers who are able to identify the problem as early as possible to not put you in that stressful position is absolutely critical.
It certainly is, as we do see here, Lillian Derbicourt on track here for Race Clutch, of course, has been here for many rounds this E-Series season alongside Lenny Pipinta. It's a lineup that we always love to see. Two very powerful drivers who overcome the accusations over the years and still try their hardest, push to their best, and can still achieve some brilliant results. And in the chat as well, welcoming everyone, welcoming to Connor, Christoph, Luca, Crammond's dad and George. Welcoming everybody.
Yes, and also,
Yeah.
I feel like it's only fair. We've got to say happy birthday, Mr. Morgan.
Yes, happy birthday,
Happy birthday.
George.
Oh, we're going to Birmingham again, aren't we?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, mate.
Oh,
brilliant.
dear me.
Lovely stuff. But yes, no, ideally, we're going to be able to give you one of the best races you've ever seen. But as far as things go, as far as E-Series has gone, let's talk about last week, because it was ridiculous. Everything could have happened. Safety cars, last-minute restarts, full fresh sets of soft tyres. It was beautiful. If you ever wanted to watch a Formula 2 sprint race, I mean, as far as things go, mate, you've had it.
Yeah, it was a very interesting one, wasn't it? That race back in Baku, and I'm sure that track will feature next game. I'm hoping it will, because it is really does throw a bit of a curveball into it. TF10 were under a bit of controversy after that one, after a surprising safety car after one of their drivers crashed at turn 1. Yes. Well, I won't say the excuse, but we'll leave it as that. So yeah, very interesting for TF10 last week, and hopefully they can fight back this week, because of course they are sitting in P7 in the standings. Of course, got overtaken by TRT last time out. They've got around, I think it's an 18-point deficit to TRT, so they've got a lot of work to do if they want to jump into sixth place in the standings, and I believe that would put them as second in the community team standings. So they've got a lot to do here tonight, haven't they?
Okay, come on, let's hold the phone. Let's. I'm going to challenge you on this one. Race Clutch is a community team.
Mm-hmm.
They are now. They're a community team. I'm not having anything else. Right, Veloce Academy. Not really. Right. RHG, no. Scuderia Ferrari, no. To me, Thomas Enge, Race Clutch, community teams. So we're currently looking at P3 at the community teams, in my eyes. I understand Race Clutch weren't a community team last season, but of course that's because they had partnership with Alpine. They don't have that anymore. So, to me, complete community team at this point.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, I'll give them benefit of a doubt. I'm sure there's some very fine writing in the rulebook and in the contracts to ensure that there's no funny business there when it comes to prize money being given out. But as far as things go, Intermediates Championship, we got to mention it. Let's pay a little bit of homage to Creative Series while we can. TS looking like they're certainly finding themselves at home in the new rigs they've got.
Certainly, yeah. I think they are on pretty much brand new rigs. I mean, I was speaking to a member of the team earlier, and they said that their race pace looks fine, but they was a little bit inconsistent when it came to quali, which of course is quite big around this track. It's one of the tracks where qualifying matters the most, along with tracks such as Austria, which have got really short lap times. So that is one thing they really have to nip in the bud quite quickly. As we do have a car on a soft tyre. This is Kryzix here for ABS, who I don't believe has taken part yet this season, but has been in the team for a very, very long time. I believe he's also a Twitch streamer over in the French community. So let's see what Kryzix can do as he heads his way down towards turn 4. The Desida de Largo, of course, just throwing the car in down to 5th gear, getting back on the power nice and early, and also burning a bit of that battery on the exit. Through up in towards turn 6 and turn 7. Just got to hook the car onto the curbs to drag it round before heading down into turn 8 at the heavy braking zone. Yet again, just carrying all that minimum speed through, because Josh, this is one of the tracks where minimum speed is absolutely key, because even if you only gain half a tenth in a corner or half a tenth over a sector, that sometimes can be the difference between 3 or 4 positions on track.
Yeah, you saw it through Peak of the Paso, and you'll see it through Junsao as well. Make sure you get that car rotated, you slow it down enough for the apex. It can be so critical, and to make sure the car gets rotated, you'll quite often see the cars lock up. It's not a bug, it's just how the cars work in this game. You've just got to try and get that little bit of extra rotation. He does come across the line with a 107.1. We're expecting lap times to fall away at a rapid rate of knots, to be quite honest with you here. The track evolution around Baku wasn't too grand, but once you come to a purpose-built track like Interlagos, that is where you'll really start seeing the track evolution ramp up, and you will see them being able to carry more minimum speed through the corners, which is where you will naturally find the most amount of time around this circuit. It's going to be one of those where they're just going to have to wait. We're going to have to pay a little bit by ear just to make sure they're not going to get caught up with any ghost car distractions or any of that sort of shenanigans, or even weather, because it does have its own microclimate. I'm gonna drop a bit of waffle here before Jerry starts his lap. I know. Interlagos means between 2 lakes, and because it's between 2 lakes, it does have its little own microclimate, a little bit like a Spa or a Monaco.
Or Silverstone.
Those lakes. Okay, Silverstone's an airfield, mate. It's not exactly the same. Silverstone's just Britain. It's just British weather.
Yeah.
As Tony O'Shea does join the lobby, so we will be able to get a qualifying
Woohoo.
time on the board. Brilliant stuff. Pleasure to have you back, Tony. But yeah, you know, the opportunity for rain somewhat springing up out of nowhere. It's very feasible, and it's quite common around here. Hence the reason why last season we saw the rain come through, and it was absolutely, you know, next to nothing we've barely ever seen in Formula One. Yes. And it is like that around the circuit purely because of those lakes.
It is, Josh, and your
waffling
was waffling that hard that Jerry invalidated his lap, so we couldn't see what Jerry could do. Thanks to you talking, he must have been listening to you in the background and got distracted. But
it's his own fault. You should listen to our streams muted.
Good point. I mean, Will Gibson says every time he listens to the streams he's muted, but he always comments about how I speak, so he mustn't speak to them, listen to them when we're muted. But we do have Topias Koivunen on a lap at the moment here for FVR. Bit of a slide heading out to turn 4. And of course, FVR have had a bit of a dismal season. Not the type of season I would have expected. Looking at their lineup, I would have expected to see them around that 6th, 7th place, not sitting down in 9th. But of course, they are only around 20 points back off P7 at the moment. So if all goes horrible for TF10 and CPI, FVR have a very good chance to jump up into that top 7 and potentially the top 6. So they've also got a lot of work to do. You know, it's one of those seasons where the only team not in contention for position is Ferrari, because they're 50 points ahead of P6, 50 odd points behind P4, whereas everybody else has a chance to gain a position here in the standings.
Absolutely. So, you know, if you are a Ferrari, I'm not saying you should do a last first challenge, but it would be very entertaining. Or if, you know, you feel a bit more confident, just qualify at the front and play some shenanigans. But Topias Koivunen, 6.8. Brilliant stuff there for him to be able to get that lap time already on the board. And we have many more drivers out there on laps.
You missed a rather big mistake there by Kamil Satrap into turn 1. Hit the grass on entry, slid all the way over the circuit, and luckily didn't end up in the barrier at the exit of turn 1. Bit of a shame there for Kamil to have his lap ruined so early on, and of course it just goes to show with Ferrari's poor season it hasn't been where we normally see them. Of course, they won Season 2, Season 3 and Season 4. 3 back-to-back championships, and this season they currently sit in P5 and they can achieve no better. So it certainly has been a season that Ferrari probably will remember for the wrong reasons, but they also, it's also going to be a season that they don't want to remember at all. As we do have a couple more cars on circuit, as Pascal Iranielli goes up to P2 there for ABS. I'm just on board here with Matteo Longa heading through towards turn number 10 at Bico de Pato. We'll see what he can do on this latest run as we head our way down to John Sew at turn number 12. 50.779 for the second sector split there, so looking decent so far for Matteo, who's also been a driver that has impressed for the rounds he's been here this championship, as we do have Isaac Leet into second place for CPI and Matteo goes into second place there for TRT. But of course, I don't think he'll stay second for that much longer because there's many cars, Josh, yet to cross the line here.
Absolutely. All but 2 cars out on circuit, and of course 2 cars not out on circuit. Jerry Van Bussel, Topias Koivunen, and Jerry, of course, had that invalidation. He's looking to try and get himself back into the realm of possibility to get himself sorted with a lap time sooner rather than later. We've also got Tony O'Shea, who's absolutely hammered that middle sector. Lillian Derbycourt, who's just hammered the entire lap, found an improvement, got himself up into that provisional P1 spot here in Q1. Tony O'Shea's heading up towards the line. Jan Halliday jumps up to P1 as well. Oh, Elliot Tomasetto up into P2, and Tony O'Shea follows him up and takes P2 away from his TF10 teammate. As far as TF10 go, this is the result they need. They need to have this in order to overtake Town ResTech team and really try and I mean, at this point, surely you're sitting there not necessarily thinking about the cars you're trying to qualify around. You're just going to be more focused on the car behind you in the championship, right? The likes of CPR, the likes of FVR. As long as you're able to do better than them, there's every opportunity to be able to beat Tatton here today. But again, it will be one of those things where we will just have to wait and see how this race unfolds, because it is so unpredictable, especially here in E-Series. It's been absolutely ridiculous with each and every single race we've done. I'm expecting this one to be no different.
It certainly will, and I'm just going to have a little bit of a look here at Lenny Pepinta, who currently sits in P17 on a 109, and of course that was set on the intermediate tyres, and his teammate currently sits up in P6, that being Lillian Derbycourt. So let's see what Lenny Pepinta can do here as he heads his way around turn 11 into turn number 12. He's up by a couple of seconds at 50.783. That was a little bit quicker than what we saw from Matteo Longa in that first and second sector combined. So we'll see what Lenny can do as he heads his way up to the start finish straight here in the race clutch car. His teammate sits in P6. Lenny jumps up into P10. We would have expected him to be a little bit higher than that, as Angelo D'Ortenzio tops the timings there for Veloce Academy with a 106.599. And we do have next across the line Julian Klavenbach here for RHG, but he will head back into the pits as his teammate Harvey Coburn currently sits in P8 for the team. So, of course, some drivers choosing not to actually set a lap there. I think Julian must have had an invalidation, I think.
Yes, then we've also got Jerry now approaching up towards the line, down the main straight, DRS wide open, deploying all the battery left in the tank. Where's Jerry going to be able to put that CPI car? Jumps it up into P9. Brilliant stuff there from him. With 4 minutes 40 left to go in this session, he's still got enough time to straggle that beautiful British racing green car back around the circuit, back into the pits with a fresh set of soft tyres on, and give it another go if he feels it necessary. And given how close these drivers are, because this track surface is so short, surely most of these guys are going to have to go out again. Surely.
Yeah. I'd say everybody, I'd say P10 down. I think most of those will be safe. I mean, even those who are sitting, you know, P10, P11 could be safe because of the fact of those who are at the bottom are rather far off on pace.
I think it might be about midpoint 7.
Yeah, I'd say, around P10 below, definitely need to go again. Some ahead might also want to go just to cover themselves a little bit more heading into the next session. But of course, a big surprise is seeing Nelson Alves then in P19. Not what TES want going into this final round, where of course they can take the championship, and having, you know, what it seems at the moment, VA being very good in qualifying, and having Nelson currently in the bottom 5 is not what the team really wants. I mean, I've had a bit of a chat as well, and if we do manage to see TES take the championship, we might also get a bit of an exclusive chat with the owner himself, Josh.
I don't want to jinx it, right?
No, I just said if.
Mention it again. Yeah, well, an if is.
We're going to say if a lot of times this race, aren't we? If Veloce Academy do this, if Race Clutch do this, if Test do this.
But we don't do ifs.
We only do fact. Is it facts? We don't do ifs, buts, maybes, or do absolutes. There we go.
Absolutely. There we go. Finally, he's got it.
Josh, listen, I'm from Birmingham. My brain takes a bit longer to process simple information.
Mate, you used to live down the road from me. Like, yeah. We've got the same processing
about 10 minutes away.
There's no excuse. But no, we do have a couple of cars already out there. And of course, FVR being the first ones out once again. Keaton Lutt this time, currently sitting in P11. He's going to be looking to improve his lap time. You can see him now heading through Junsao, approaching here up in towards turn 14, 15. And he's going to be looking to try and open up as much of that circuit as possible to get the greatest run all the way down into the center S's. We're going to now see him pick apart this braking point, keep him far over to the right-hand side, maximising the track. Careful not to touch the grass, riding that curb on the inside, swinging it back over towards the right, heading through Curve de Sol, making sure he stays as much on the curb as possible to minimise the overall track distance, open the rear wing, down the Retta Raposta for approaching Desida de Largo. 190 miles an hour, flicking it into the left here. Open up with the camber, pushing the car slightly out wide, heading now all the way up into Ferradura. This track is so unbelievably quick, and watching these guys fling the cars around like it's no one's business is fantastic to see. Chucking it now all the way down, trying just to prime himself before approaching it up into Bica de Pata, one of the more difficult braking points on the circuit, given the camber of the corner and how much rotation you've got to get in the car. Locking up the front right just to make sure he gets the car perfectly rotated. Now heading up into Junsao. Bit of a blind apex. You've got to have full faith in the car, and he does that absolutely beautifully, riding on the exit curb and once again deploying the battery as much as he can up towards the start-finish straight. You'll see him keep over towards the left-hand side of the track. Once again, minimising that track distance. Where's he going to be able to put the FVR car up into P5? Is this already maybe an early sign that Aliyah, Tudor and Lillian might have retired a bit too early from the session, Nathan?
Certainly could have been. Currently sits in P8 as Lillian, and there's many cars looking to still find an improvement here, but I reckon they still might just be safe here. Just on board here with Nelson Alves, who does a 50.741 in that middle sector and first sector combined. So looking decent so far as Isaac Leet jumps up into P4 there for CPR with a 106.670. And there's a lot of pressure here on Nelson Alves to try and jump his car up into that top 15 to the line, into P5. Surely that will be safe here for TES and Nelson Alves just trying to find who's next to set a lap. Matteo Longate is going to have to go again because he has had an invalidation, so he's got one more opportunity. Then we do have, I think, one of the ABS cars heading to the line. I think that's Kryzik's just beginning a lap here, Josh. So as we normally see around Brazil, we've got lots of cars going for that double 8 lap strategy here to burn off a bit more on that extra fuel.
Yeah, Jared Van Bussel's invalidated as well, so he's going to be swinging it back past, and you can see now he's starting to deploy the ERS very close up towards the line, 13 seconds left. But we do have, I do believe that's the R8G of Harvey Cohen up towards the line. Provisional P1 so far, 16.598, only 1,000th of a second between him and Angelo Dorotenzio. Brilliant stuff. Julian Klappenbach next up towards the line, gets himself up into P8, securing himself through into Q2. He's got no more worries. He's able to just roll that car around at his will. I do believe next up will be Pasquale Ranieri, who's invalidated his lap time, so he'll be diving back into the pits. And that releases, I do believe, Tony Roche. He's going to be safe from his qualifying sessions. Now the target has moved into P9. Patrick Sipos as well, invalidating his first run, second run, not able to get an improvement. So he's going to be doing his own last to first challenge here today. And
there's a lot of pressure here on Lilian Derbacor, who sits in P15, and I think he might be safe because the cars behind, I don't think, have found an improvement that they need. What can Kryzik do as he heads to the line? Only manages P19 there for ABS, so we are going to lose Jerry Van Bussel, Matteo Longate, Pasquale Ranieri, Kryzik, and Patrick Sipos, who I think had a bit of an issue there in the Ferrari seat because he went back into the pits and left the session. So hopefully Patrick's issues can be sorted. But I've got to say, yet again, look at Ferrari. Camille barely surviving there by, 9,000ths of a second. On any other day, he'd be 8 in Q1 with that. So Ferrari struggling once more. And I feel like the worst part is, Josh, we've said that every round. I think by the one they got I think it was a 1-2.
Now, is it because it's Ferrari and because we're used to having Barry and Nico race for them, and that's such a high precedent, that high standard, that we're sitting there going, it's a little bit disappointing. And they've not entered Barry or Nico into any of the rounds, I don't believe, this season, apart from maybe the first one.
I think they did one together, and then they both did one separately each, I think. So they've done 2.
Yes.
Each.
And do we necessarily hold that standard to that entire Ferrari academy? Because let's not beat around the bush here. Patrick Sipos and Kamil Stachura, there's a reason they're not doing the F1 Sim Racing World Championship. They're not at Barry and Nico's level. They can be in the future, but right now they're not at that point. You can say the same about Dylan Moran. Whoever sits in that Ferrari seat, they're not at that point. Do we consider it disappointing because of that level of expectation we have for Ferrari winning, back-to-back championship series, and then also winning the F1 Sim Racing Constructors Championship last year? Is that playing a little bit into our decision making here? Because as far as things go, being less than half a tenth off of Lilian Derbacor, who's been absolutely ridiculous this season, by no stretch of your imagination is that poor. I feel like Camille should be very much proud of it and start just focusing. Okay, get into Q3. We'll keep chipping away at this. There's so many resources which have to be spread out between the professional teams, especially during this time of the year with Formula 1 sim racing. There's a reason why Ferrari's the only official team in here, realistically. Yeah,
I'm inclined to agree, but I also look at the facts of saying, well, half of these drivers here in Q2 are part of teams that are not established whatsoever. They're just community teams, and Ferrari should be a team that should always be near enough with them or on top of them. So I'm not going to sit here and say Patrick and Camille, because that is not the right thing to do, but certainly on a whole for the team just hasn't been ideal. F1 sim racing itself also hasn't gone their way, so it's just one of those things where sometimes the team, they go for a bit of a niggle at the start of a game or at this point, middle of the game. Look at McLaren, for example. The first couple of months they were really dire and they were struggling a lot in E-Series, and also, even in PSGL F1 with Lucas and Alpha, they didn't have the best start. So I think it's just the phases some of the teams go for every now and then, isn't it? As luckily Patrick has managed to get himself back into the session. But I think either way, Patrick is a big person to have in that team because he's got so much experience.
He's fantastic.
He's been here for 4 seasons, I think, in F1 sim racing or F1 esports.
Yes.
Something like that, isn't it, Josh? It's because he was there when he was at LP, wasn't he? Back in 22, was it?
Yeah, he's reliable. He's one of the cornerstones as far as things go. You know, you'll always look back and think, you know, a Yarno, a Brendan Lee have been there for absolute years, Freddie as well. You know, but Patrick's one of those who's just slightly quiet, just behind the scenes, chipping away, making sure everything's set up perfectly, that they're going to be at the best of their ability. And there's so many people like him, you know, who just constantly chip away. So many dev drivers which might not have their moment in the sun being part of the main team, but they do so much behind the scenes to make sure that the drivers are comfortable, make sure they've got all the data, to be able to make sure they're able to dial in that perfect opportunity and that perfect lap, and he is one of them. So it's a great asset to have for Ferrari, especially looking towards the future. So many of these drivers have the potential to go and be that it driver, be that Lotus Lawrence, go and be absolute star-studded material, be, you know, franchise players of Formula One esports, Formula One sim racing, whatever you want to call it. But then again, so many of these drivers have that, you know, cognitive awareness, have that intelligence, have that level of understanding of how the cars perform, both in this game, iRacing, ACC, whatever it is. They have that intelligence to be able to realise what's wrong with the car, what needs to change, and how it can change to help benefit those who will be racing on that setup, who will be dialing it in that car. As we are seeing, start of laps here, all getting rattled in, one after another. VA once again, though, up towards the top end of the standings. Jan Halliday finally gets himself up into P2. Brilliant stuff to see. Nelson, though, seems to be struggling just a little bit. Do you reckon he's getting distracted by all the crowd cheering him on?
I mean, he's only a couple of tenths off, and it's his first lap in Q2. I mean, you look at last session, Jan, you know, dropped down a little bit towards the end of it, so it's just one of those, you know, that they're just going to get themselves settled in. I mean, Veloce Academy have looked good in qualifying, but they always do. You know, they're always up in that top 5 every single session in pretty much every qualifying we have here. In E-Series, of course, they've also got Angelo and Leo, 2 drivers that are very good when it comes to the qualifying stage. And also to mention as well, obviously we've had, I think, at least another 2 or 3 leagues in the past couple of weeks feature here at Brazil. So some of these drivers will have raced a lot more around this track compared to others, so they'll have that extra bit of preparation to carry them forward, as most drivers now are going to be heading their way back into the pit lane. Of course, Julian Klaffenbach there, one of the drivers not setting a lap on the board, unfortunately. Must have had an invalidation or an issue on his last lap. But at the moment, bottom 5 consists of both of the TF10 cars. Camel Stacher out for Ferrari, Lillian Debecourt for Race Coach, and Julian for R8G. I think for those in the 107s, that's probably down to a used tyre set or an issue. Those in the top 10, you know, that some of them could have gone for a used tyre, some of them could have gone on to brand new tyres. But the good thing here for Tess is that whether it's Nelson or Jan, wherever Veloce Academy is at the top, there's at least one of them right there with them and not going to let them have that dominance in points going into the race. You know, if we go into Q3, this wouldn't be the most ideal scenario for Tess. But the fact they have someone there to stop VA is what's going to help them and also give them a little bit more of that motivation, because they know they've got to get past them in order to win. If they start ahead of them, they'll be fine where they are, because they know it's going to be hard for anyone to pass them, because Tess, as good as they are, you know, pushing forward, their defence is brilliant.
Yes. I mean, you know, you look back at it, and we've seen it time and time again, how ridiculously effective they are working together. I dread to think how much more effective they're going to be now everyone's in the same building. Like, there's no input lag on saying, hey, I'm going to the left. You're there. You are there. You're sharing that moment. You can literally reach over and point to the screen to tell them, hey, go to the left. That's it. Job done. That's that. So I'm excited to see how that's going to be. I hope for their sake we're able to pull out a brilliant result and make it nice and close. And I hope VA don't get double stacked, because
as they always do.
Let's not forget the amount of double stacks VA have had.
Too many.
Ridiculous. You would argue that without the double stacks, they would be leading the championship at this moment.
I mean, it would be very close. I mean, Will Gibson tells me that's the case, but it's Will Gibson. He's part of the team. Of course, he's going to be biased. But I think it's unfair to say if they didn't have this, then they'd be leading the championship. Because you could say for Tess, if they didn't have their puncture in Monza, they'd be leading by even more. Or for Race Coach, if they didn't have their issues they had at the start with qualifying and being able in Q1 and Q2, they'd be leading the championship. So there's so many ifs, buts and maybes, isn't there?
Yeah.
But you can only look at the points that are there right now, and that is TES are leading the way.
Absolutely. But the absolute we can all take away from this is if you raced for ABS for every single round, they would be clear, mate.
Of course. Me and Will Lewis, what a team that'd be.
Mate, that'll be a meme dream team.
I mean, I've got to say, I'm surprised we didn't see much more of Will. He attended one of, like, 5 races he could have attended. And it was like, I'm sure that there was a post saying that Will Lewis would join them to help them in E-Series, and he turned up to 1 race.
Again, it's one of those things. He might be helping behind the scenes.
Could be, yes.
We don't know how all of it, ships and shapes out, but we do have our current P1 driver, Angelo Rotenzio, starting his lap, heading through the center S's here. Excited to see what he's going to be capable of. Of course, after last night, wrapping up the F2 Championship, brilliant stuff from him. Huge congratulations heading his way. Did come with a little bit of controversy, but I'm sure he's not going to be bothered by that too much. He's just going to be focused on getting this lap nailed and getting through into Q3 and being able to really show what he's made of and try and help Veloce get a hand on this championship.
Yeah, he certainly will. Angelo's been a big member of the Veloce Academy team over the recent weeks, as we do see Chino Pressacana going up into first place there with a 106.616. And Will Lewis says, my rig quite literally been finessed out of my household. Oh, a big shame there for Will. So he physically can't drive. But enough of the waffling. We'll talk about a little bit more about that in a bit. We do have Nelson Alves here looking to set a lap here for TES. Let's see what he can do as he heads his way up to the line here. Currently sits in P7, jumps up into the top spot there with a 106.553. Angelo goes a 10th quicker there with a 106.413. A brilliant lap there by Angelo D'Ortenzio. Lillian Debecourt up into 3rd there for Race Clutch, looking decent himself, as I think Lenny Pepinta there jumping up into 2nd place. A brilliant lap there by Mr. Lenny Pepinta himself. And we are just on board here with Julian Klaffenbach heading through the final couple of corners. We'll see what he can do once he heads up to the line. But of course, RHG are statistically in the battle for the championship, but everyone knows they've realistically got no chance because they're like 47 points behind. As we do see Julian going to 3rd and Leo Lund top the timings here.
Whoa, excited to see how this one could potentially unfold, because we could have everyone numerically has the potential to win the championship starting in the top 8. That could be ridiculous. If you think RHG, they've got absolutely nothing to lose. Ferrari can't catch them. Why not just absolutely send it? Why not drive like absolute maniacs and try and get something across the line here? What is there to lose?
Nothing much at all, but I think we all know that it's... I mean, I still think that there's no chance in the world that Veloce Academy or Race Clutch can beat Tess. I think they're just that far ahead. 30 points to lose in one race is something that doesn't very often happen.
Right. So when one of the TS cars gets put into a ball and the other one gets a double stack, we remember this moment, we come back to it, we clip it, we put it on social media and blame Nathan Richards.
That's fine, I'll get the interactions for that. Fine by me. But the good thing for us, Josh, for the chat, but not good for the top 3 teams, is currently TES, both drivers in the top 10, Race Clutch, both drivers in the top 10, Veloce Academy, both drivers in the top 10 here.
Personally, if I was TF10, I wouldn't be having that. I'd be looking to try and get myself into the top 10. Earlier, Tomasetto, Tony Roche, please, boys,
They're
get
going to try.
cracking.
I mean, they're only 40 thousandths of 10th. You know, they're not that far away.
Yeah, it's very much viable for them to be able to do it. It just comes down to that half a tenth, that 1/10, that 1.5 tenths. Just being able to find that time. The hardest part, one of the drivers over at Red Bull Ring, Patrick Frieschecker, used to be a Formula 1 driver. He said it best. It's everyone can get to a certain lap time, regardless of their experience, but it's that last minute bit that is the hardest to get, and that's what those drivers are now out there hunting for. That little tiny bit which will be able to take you over the edge and put you into that top 10. It's so difficult, but we know so many of these drivers have that potential to be able to go out there and find it because they've done it before here. They've done it this season already in E-Series. There's no reason why they can't.
No, certainly not. But we head into the final few minutes here of the second qualifying session of the evening, and the top 10 are separated by just over 2/10. The top 13 separated by just over 2.5. So, a lot of pressure on everybody here, bar the top 3 at the moment in this session. I think with the lap times they've set, a 106.4 is a very good lap. So I think they are fine where they are, that being Leo, Angelo and Julian. But all those down, fourth downwards, need to get another lap in. They need to improve on their times because I don't think they're going to be safe when the cars in the bottom 5 are only 10th back. So we're going to have an interesting Q2 ending here. There could definitely be a couple of surprise names going out. And considering, Josh, there's both VAs, both TES cars, and both race clutch cars in the top 10. I have a bit of a feeling one of them, out of 6, is going to go out here. I can't see all 6 making their way through. Someone's going to have a bit of heartbreak heading into Q3.
It could be absolutely manic. I'm not even going to lie to you. Imagine the scenes if Nelson doesn't get through.
I mean, it wouldn't be good for Tess. I mean, I just looked on Twitter. They've got 500 people watching Nelson at the moment.
They've got such an opportunity to be able to get one hand on that title in qualifying, but equally that comes with so much pressure. And let's not be let's not mumble anything here. Lillian Derbicourt, Harvey Cohen, Tudor Prescan, Elliot Tomasetto, Tony Roche, Isaac Lee, Camel Stature, Topias Koivunen are all very much capable of being able to pull out a lap time better than an 06.553.
Yes, definitely. They're all capable of putting up a 106.4 because they've all done it in practice. If they didn't do it in practice, they wouldn't be racing here now because every team only wants to select a driver that's good enough to get them into Q3. And if you're not good enough for that, you're most likely not going to get in. But we do have our final laps underway. The first one to go will be Tudor Pressagan here for TRT. Of course, recently renaming to Tatum Restech team here in the world of sim racing after their new title partnership or sponsorship. So let's see what Tudor can do here for the final round of the season as he heads his way through towards turn number 9. I believe it's Pinarino, as it's known as, but ignore that because he's let off. He's going to go again. He's burnt some of the fuel to go for one more attempt with just over a minute and a half to go. And yeah, Josh, that is the difficult part for us because we never know who's going to go for double 8 lap and who's not. So we have to just keep commentating until they lift off. And if that's halfway through the lap, we just have to stop immediately.
Well, Topias Koivunen's absolutely sending it. I can tell you that much for absolutely free. Heading into Jonestown now. Down the back straight, putting the battery on. He's turned the afterburners on. 1 minute left of his session. He's going to set the first final lap time here in Q2. Is it going to be good enough to get him in towards that top 10 and out of the bottom 5? You would sure hope so, and he's absolutely done that. A 4.47, brilliant stuff there from the FER driver. A couple drivers yet to come across the line. They'll be looking to keep their lap times rolling. We've got Camel Statura rolling around at the minute. Leonard Pinto jumps himself up into P4. His teammate currently sitting in P9. Can he find a slight improvement? He does, and he jumps up into P6. This just adds more pressure to Jan Halliday, who's backed out of his lap. He's recharged his battery.
Nelson Alves there, Josh, only up into P8 there with a 106.528. Jan Halliday's jumped into the pits, so they've got to hope now that 3 drivers don't improve ahead of them, otherwise they could be facing a Q2 elimination. I'm just on board here with Harvey Cohen heading in towards turn number 10 here. Bico de Pato, of course, P4 last week out in Baku, has been on a decent form recently, has Harvey. As he heads his way in towards John Sow, he's down by 14 thousandths, but of course has only got half a tenth to P7 as John Halliday will finish in P7. He can't go any higher than that. Let's see what can Harvey Cohen do here for R8G. His teammate sits in third. Harvey jumps in, stays in P10. A 5.32. He could be out here in Q2 as we need to find who's next on a lap. So Ellie is invalidated. Tony is back into the pits. Tudor is back into the pits too. Camel Satura is on an improvement here as we head into the latter parts of the Q2 session, and TES I think are more than safe at these moments in time. What can Camel do here? Can he jump his way into Q3 here for Ferrari for one last time this season as he heads his way through the final couple of corners? DRS is open now. ERS being absolutely dumped as he heads his way to the line, and it will not be Q3 and stays 15th place, a couple tenths off the top spot. So unfortunately, we will lose Isaac Leap for CPI, TRT's Tudor Pressacan, both of the TF10 cars, and Ferrari's Camel Statura. And Josh, I said that Ferrari have had a poor season, but I don't think we've seen them start 15 and 20th before. That is a big surprise, and that is certainly not going to fill them with any confidence whatsoever here.
No, it's not going to be the ideal start, but if you are going to have a poor qualifying anywhere, you could make a perfect argument. Interlagos is a place to do it. There's overtaking opportunities at every single corner. We know the level of experience. We've already touched on it with Patrick, but as well. there's just so much experience in that camp. Camille by no means is a rookie. Got years and years of experience as well. That entire team, that engineering team, all know exactly how they can make something out of this. It's been disappointing qualifying, but it's not the end of the day. That's what we're going to have to move on from at this moment. TF10, 14th and 13th as well. Unfortunate for them, but again, more opportunities up the road. Judah Proscam in P12 and Isaac Lee in P11, which leaves us with 5 teams getting both drivers through into Q3. For the first time here in E-Series, and the first time in Season 5.
Is it?
Yeah. FER got both cars through.
Yeah, but I mean, is it the first time? I'm sure they've done it more than once. Surely.
No.
I mean, I know they've had a poor season, but I'm sure they did it a couple of weeks ago with Diego.
No, not getting through into Q3, but first time getting 5 cars.
Oh,
five
okay.
teams all into the Q3 shootout.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. I mean, I wasn't listening to you, to be honest.
Oh my word! Right, there we go.
That's why. Yeah, Maximilian, you peaked 5 times this season, but you sit 9th in the standings.
That's outrageous, mate.
No,
That's outrageous.
I'm joking.
That's
Max.
outrageous.
I love you really,
Can't leave
Maxi.
Maxi like that. Come on. leave my little Maxi.
Do you know, I used to manage alongside Maxi a couple of years ago when I was a manager.
Yeah,
back
you got
in
binned off.
QRT. Oh, the times. I love them, but hate them as well. Oh, dear me. But here we are, Josh. This is where it really starts to get interesting. Because we have Race Clutch, Veloce Academy and Tomashing Sim Racing all together in Q3. But RHG and FER, if they can cause an upset, why not? I mean, if I was those 2 teams right now, I'd say, right, get ahead of everyone, qualify and pole, and cause absolute chaos. Who wouldn't love that? Because I would.
Send it. Have a bit of fun. Why not? These guys, they're all sitting there racing for a championship. You're vibing. You're sitting there looking to try and get, P6 best case scenario. I feel like we could probably say many things here, which Connor would be slightly upset about. But that attitude has got to be along that way, right? You just go for it. You have a bit of fun. You see what you're able to do. So be it. End of the day is what it is. As we got Lillian Derbycourt certainly giving it a go, heading through the center S's there, getting the lockup to get the car rotated, and now opening up that DRS, heading down the Retro Reposta, absolutely flying. But they do have the RHG car directly behind, of who I do believe is Harvey Cohen, keeping him at the company and keeping him honest as well. But I do believe we've got a cheeky little TES followed by a VA. No, a VA followed by a TS followed by the other race clutch of Lenny Pinter. They've all gone out in a very awkward order. None of them are necessarily in a position where they would want to be, I want to say.
Certainly not, as I'm just on board here with Harvey Cohen, heading through into turn 8 and 9, down towards Bico de Passo at turn 10. Let's see what he can do on this first run, of course. Like I said earlier on, has had a decent form recently and would certainly like to be qualified in that top 5 here for RHG. 50.837 in that first and second sector split here, looking decent for Harvey. Of course, ahead of him will be Lillian Derbycourt for Race Clutch. We'll see what Lillian can do as he heads to the line now. A 106.809. Harvey goes even quicker there with a 106.723. As we do see Leo Lund now up into provisional pole for Veloce Academy. Nelson Alves sits right behind with his teammate Jan Halliday in second place. And Keaton, look, what can he do here for FER as Julian Klaffenbach goes to the top for RHG. And Topias Koivunen, unfortunately, I think suffering an invalidation there, as we did see Angelo head back into the pit, so I believe he also would have had an invalidation. But so far, RHG lead from Veloce Academy in both of the test cars in 3rd and 4th. That is a decent position for Jan and Nelson here.
Now, we're going to play a game here. I'm going to play it with you. I'm going to play it with chat. Guess which of these cars were on a used set of tyres?
Which one?
That's the game, mate. I'm not going to tell you. Have a guess.
TS.
Really? 0.495 on a used set?
I don't know. I'm guessing.
Well, I would think that probably Keaton Down is on a older set of tyres. 0.6, 0.7, 0.7, 0.8, I want to say is an old set. I mean, you can basically assure both race clutches of.
Yeah.
VA, both of the cars only did one run in Q2, so they've both got a fresh set of tyres. Of course, not fresh anymore. Angelo invalidated their lap, and Leo put in a 0.44. Julian, you can guarantee, was on a fresh set of tyres.
Yep, a great lap there by Julian Klaffenbach, a 106.347, the quickest time we've seen overall here in qualifying this evening. Of course, Leo Lund around a 10th behind, and then Jan Halliday sits, 50 thousandths behind the back of Leo Lund. So very close between Veloce Academy's Leo Lund and Tessie's Jan Halliday. But Angelo Dortenzio yet to set a lap here in Q3, and I think once he gets himself onto the timings, he'll easily be within that top 4 here. So it's going to be very close between Veloce Academy and Tess, but then it's still going to be interesting to see what Lenny Pepinta and Lilian Debecourt can do, considering they went out on used tyres there on their runs. So they've still got to show what they can do here.
Yeah, we're going to see him properly turn up the wick and see what they're able to get out of that car under these circumstances. Really try and slimline it down just a little bit. But Angelo, being the odd one out at the minute, starting his flying lap, the rest of the cars are heading out as well, which indicates to me those cars going out are going out on a set of scrub tyres, or maybe even a set of fresh tyres at this point. But they're still looking to try and get 3 runs into this qualifying free session. And by all means, they're able to do it because the track is so short. 1 minute 6 lap time. You're looking at Monaco's length, but so much quicker and so much more abrasive on the tyres. Surely you go out and just try and get 3 runs in.
Yep, certainly. I think that's what many drivers will try and do here. With just over 6 minutes to go, they're all out once again. And let's see what Angelo Dortenzio can do here. Let's see what his middle sector is looking like. A 50.486. First and second sector combined. That is very decent indeed. So that should throw him up in towards that top 3, I reckon, here for Angelo Dortenzio. Going on board with the car. So we head our way up to the line here. What will it be for Veloce Academy? Up to provisional pole, the 106.337. And of course, we have got 5 minutes to go, so it doesn't mean he's going to get pole now. But that lap, if he can improve on that again, surely Angelo is in a good position here to fight for that pole position quite easily, as we do have both of the race clutch cars now on a lap. So let's have a look, Josh, at a lap with Lenny Pepinta.
Yes, absolutely. So we can see him now heading all the way up in towards Ferradura here. He's going to have to be very, very careful where he flicks the car and make sure not to take too much curb on the inside, because it will unbalance, unsettle the car and make it so difficult and so awkward for chucking it into 8 and 9, riding the curb on the inside, getting as much rotation as possible before he puts the power down, deploys a slight bit of battery, picks the braking point perfectly for Bika D'Apato, looking to run it out as wide as possible, because of course that puts you to the inside of the Gallo for turn 11 before approaching over towards the unside, keeping it over towards the right hand side. You don't want to break on the grass anymore. That's being patched out from last year's game, before keeping it back towards the left hand side. And next thing you already know, the lap's practically already done as Leo Lund sets the new fastest lap time of the session, separating himself by 0.02 of a second towards his teammate, and Lenny Pepinta there helping himself up into P5 with a 106.5. Not ideal, but he's still got himself in amongst the cat amongst pigeons, let's say. Race Clutch still very much in this battle, and we've got both the TES cars, I believe, heading up towards the line. Jan Halliday's decided to dive it into pits. He wasn't happy with his lap. Let's see what Nelson Alves is going to be able to do. Is he going to take the same sort of approach? He's burning all his battery, and he's going to dive it back into the pits as well. So perhaps just a little sighting out there for the 2 TES cars, just seeing what's potentially possible, not looking to try and push it any further than that.
No, and I'm just watching on board here with Lilian Debecourt, who seemed to match his first personal best in the first sector, so looking decent so far here for Lilian, as we'll see what he can do in this middle and final sector. Of course, was on a lap earlier on, but saved up to go again, as he did have an invalidation, I'd imagine, somewhere around the middle part of the track, being as he was able to get back to 100% battery rather quickly. Let's see what Lilian does in that middle sector. He's improving there by just over a tenth and a half. That will pop him just below, I think, Nelson Alves, or maybe a little bit higher than him, into that P6 spot. We'll see. As Lilian Debecourt now heads to the line. No, he doesn't. He decides to go back into the pit lane and get ready to go again here. 3.5 minutes to go in this session. Veloce Academy in the top spots here, 1 and 2 in qualifying. And you start to think, Josh, if they can do that in quali, there's no reason why they won't be controlling the race. Of course, 36 laps around this circuit here in Brazil. And then we have Julian Klaffenbach in third. And our championship leaders, the ones closest to taking the championship, sit in P4 and P6. And remember, the gap between P1 and P2 is 31 points. So, Veloce Academy need to gain 32 points on Tess, and Race Clutch need to gain 36 points on Tess if they would like to win the championship. So, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it, Josh? But the final laps of Q3 are underway very shortly, and R8G are in there to cause an upset here with Julian.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask for your prediction for pole, but I'm going to share mine first, considering you took him last time. I'm saying Julian. I feel like he's got something. He's gone out nice and early here. He's decided to have another preparation lap, presumably, just to try and burn off that little bit more fuel compared to some of his competitors who are going to be saving it for a little bit later. His teammate, for example, still sitting in the pits with 2 minutes remaining. It's not looking like they're going to be able to get another lap out there just to burn off that little bit of extra fuel. But for me, Julian's going to be the one to watch here for pole.
Information from Mr. Dylan Warren. Lenny was on used tyres for that lap.
That's ridiculous.
So,
right.
Lenny could be one to fight for that pole. But I'm going to go with Angelo D'Ortenzio for pole position.
It's a very good shout. Very good shout indeed. You know, just wrapped up the F2 Championship. Confidence is going to be at an all-time high. I can see why you've gone for him, Nathan. It's a wise pick for once from you.
It's always a wise pick from me. Let's see. Well, we're not going to go on board with Jan just yet, because he's at turn 3. But we'll go back to Topias Koivunen here, who's looking decent in the first sector. And the question is, has he backed off? He certainly has. So he won't be taken to the track for a lap this time around. He'll be going next lap for his final run. What about Julian Klaffenbach here? Heading down towards turn 8 and turn number 9. We'll see what he's up to as he heads his way out. I think here Julian might be on a lap as we head our way into the 10th corner at Pico de Passo. Back on the power. Through into turn 11, Josh. I think Julian might be on the charge here.
Yeah, he's certainly looking to complete this lap. He doesn't want to go out for another lap. He's absolutely flying at the minute. Purple, middle sector. Where's Julian going to be able to put this R8G car? The black and lime green. He's going to approach with DRS now wide open, deploying as much of a battery as possible, going down into single digits all the way up towards the line. It's a 106.2 there for Julian Klaffenbach. Brilliant lap time. Ooh. But of course, he's not the only car to set a lap here in this session. Of course, we've still got many more drivers looking to try and get an improvement. We've also got Nelson Alves here, who I'm looking at. He's going to be up towards the line in a matter of seconds. And I do believe that's Angelo D'Ortenzio as well, who's slightly further behind him. So let's keep an eye out for him. Leo Lund up there with a 0.1. Okay, right, this is ridiculous.
Brilliant
up there.
Now we've
got a 6.1 from Leo Lund. What a joke.
But Josh, I've got to tell you, Jan Herde was on a lap there, and he did set a 106.3. He did improve, but it wasn't enough to improve by position. So we'll look at him later on. I want to watch here. Lenny Papinta, he's down currently in that first sector. He's up by a 10th in the middle sector. Can Lenny Papinta here try and take pole away? He's got a big gap here to Leo Lund, who currently sits on that top spot. Let's see, what can Lenny Papinta do here for race coach Topias Koivunen? Jumps up into P4 there for FPL. Lenny Papinta only manages P6. Jan Herde is down by a couple of seconds. Lilian Debcourt is also down by a couple of seconds. And Keedan Lutt had an invalidation. So there we go. It's Leo Lund on pole. R8G in second with Julian Klaffenbach. And Veloce Academy having Angelo sitting third. I don't think it will be enough to take the championship here, but certainly puts them in the right direction of it.
Absolutely. They're going to need some sort of favour, some sort of miracle to happen to push TS slightly further down the order. But given TS have got Lenny Papinta and Lilian Debcourt directly behind them, there's potential for upsets. There's potential for a bit of drama heading into turn 1, of course. Let's not joke. Center S's, we've seen contact there many times before, both in the real world and both in sim racing. All it takes is one driver to snatch a brake slightly. Next thing you know, 2, 3, 4 cars getting caught up in that contact, and you've got a very long evening ahead of you. But to run you through the top 10 we have here, Leo Lund with a phenomenal 106.197, grabbing himself pole position, 6 thousandths of a second back off of him, Julian Klaffenbach. Great lap from the R8G driver. Then, of course, for VA, 25 thousandths of Angelo D'Ortenzio, and Topias Koivunen for FVR popping himself up there into P4, looking to be a bit of a disruptor to this championship battle. Nelson Alves in P5, Lenny Papinta in P6, Jan Herde in P7, Lilian Debcourt in P8, Keedan Lutt up into P9, and Harvey Cohen not necessarily being able to get a representative lap time on the board, sitting in P10. Unfortunate there for Harvey, but we know from last week, for example, he did a fantastic job making his way back through the field after going out in Q1.
Of course, so I'm just having a little look through to see if the person on pole gets an extra point, and they do.
They do.
So that means that Leo Lund Now brings that gap to 30 points between Tess and Veloce Academy.
All of a sudden, it's looking a little bit more feasible.
It certainly is.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But again, a long race into Lagos. Very short circuit, awful lot of laps. So they're just going to have to make sure they keep themselves in the right headspace and also make sure they prepare for the worst kind of weather possible, which we do know can be a feature. But nevertheless, qualifying's done. I'm going to see them be a little bit silly goofy here. I'm sure most of them are going to go out and do a complete lap in ghost mode just to make sure they're all prepped, they're all happy, they're comfortable with what they're going to be doing, comfortable with the machinery. Oh, okay, brilliant, lovely. So apparently no one can hear Nathan. You've all got your wish. Hopefully you're all happy now. Poor Nathan. He's literally crying in my ear. Really, really unfortunate. Honestly, can't believe you guys. But yeah, no, we're going to see most of these guys now just go have a little bit of wacko fun time in the background. But while we have a look at that, we can see the standings on your screen. So we give Veloce Academy a cheeky extra 1 point, making their distance to Race Clutch only 5 points now. And then, of course, closing that gap up to TES at the top of the standings. Race Clutch and RHG, they're going to be looking to try and duke it out as well. Veloce Academy haven't got that P2 entirely safe as well, so they will have to err on the side of caution just a little bit. TES, on the meantime, they can absolutely go for it. They can go have a little bit of fun. They can fully send it. It could be absolutely fantastic. So, let's just keep an eye out for them. Let's keep a watchful, somewhat tentative eye, just to make sure, you know, potential for something to happen there. But yeah, of course, Connor correctly says in chat, thank you to GT Omega for contributing to the £1,000 prize pool, of course. And it won't be too long before we hear a special word from our sponsors over at GT Omega. And I do believe we've got that locked and loaded, ready to go. Oh, that's brilliant.
Right, we should be back, Josh. There we go. Sorry, guys, the stream ended rather weirdly then. OBS crashed. But just let us know in the chat if you can hear us quickly, which would be very appreciated. But yes, I was going to say, thanks to GT Omega, because they've done a brilliant job this season, providing us with some of the funding for the prize pool, and of course, has supported PSGL for what? Is it nearly 2 years now, Josh, here? In every aspect of PSGL. Yes. Can't hear you again, Josh. Now.
There
we go.
Can we hear? Are we back?
Oh my.
Right.
Issues.
I was sitting there discussing about how my chair survived being thrown around and absolutely like terrorized, but yeah, no, solid, very quality material. It's lasted the test of time, far better than any other gaming chair I've ever had. They could hold Nathan as well, so they've got that going for them.
No, they are very good chairs. You know, I've had mine now from GT Omega through PSGL around 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and it's still in perfect condition. It does a very good job indeed. It's put up with me for 2.5 years, so for many others it will do at least triple that.
Yeah, there's a very strange ketchup stain on yours. I've noticed it. I didn't want to point it out. There's a massive ketchup stain all over the back, just under the O. It's very interesting.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah,
so
I've been asked to learn sign language in chat from Victoria.
Probably, yeah, because the audio cuts out. It doesn't tell me on OBS if it does, which is the issue.
I know some sign language, but it's not suitable for a broadcast in any regard. I'm sure you guys can guess what that could be.
More used in an angry moment.
Yeah, it's something you would normally give to a person when they've not been very nice to you.
Oh, dear me. But hopefully we haven't got too long to go before we get our way into the race. Of course, 36 laps will await us here around the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. A brilliant track. One of my favourite when it comes to racing. So to have the finale here is brilliant. And before we go in, I've got a bit of a fun fact. So, Season 3 was the last time we was here at Brazil. And funnily enough, it was the finale of the season. And Jan Halliday got a podium for TES in one of their only 2 podiums over 21 races. So something tells me Brazil has got some sort of fond memory for TES, and maybe they'll repay them again, or it will curse them and do the opposite. One of the two. It can only go 2 ways.
I mean, they could just have an awfully mid-race and just not really do anything and still win the championship.
I mean,
could do.
Looking at the gap at the moment, if they was to finish where they are, Josh, in terms of they qualified, I remember what it was. I remembered what it was before, but I don't remember now. I did work it out. It'd be around 10 points that TES would win it by, because at the moment, what P1 and P3 for Veloce Academy would put them on a 60-point, well, not advantage, but it will give them 60 points in this round, whereas TES, who are both below P4, you'd be looking at around 40. So
it's going to take just a little bit more. But
even with the 1-2 for Veloce Academy, they would still need a lot to go wrong for TES.
They need a race clutch. They need a Tatum up there. Just cause something. An RAG. Just have a little bit of distraction. Force TES into fights they don't want to be in. And then there's an opportunity for Veloce Academy. But then again, how nice have Veloce Academy been? Who have they reported here in East Series? The political landscape is absolutely dire. Everyone's reported everyone. There's no friendships being made. There's no buddy-buddy teams who understand, okay, right, someone's got the hex code wrong for one of the logos. We'll let him off the hook. It's fine. No. It's none of that. So it's going to be absolutely everyone go for everyone. Everyone's trying to upset everyone. Everyone's trying to beat each other.
Yeah.
Proper, old-school, vicious racing. None of this political landscape bollocks. It's real racing, and we're here for it.
Yes, we certainly are. As we have only got 20 seconds to go before the session will launch, and like I say, Josh, I say this in every single season I've been here in PSGL, over in WR as well, and all the other team events. I'm not happy when we don't have a. I'm not happy when the finale doesn't involve a championship battle. Well, this one involves 3 teams, so I'm very excited for this. I can't wait to see what happens at the end of this race, and we'll see who will be crowned champions. But we haven't got too long to go, because the game is going to load us in very, very shortly, Josh, and we'll see who will be this season's E-Series champion. Because remember, we have been told by Connor that we won't be back for F1 24. So we've got at least a 6-month break, I reckon, until we're back again. So this one will mean a lot in that sense, because we're going to have a bit of a temporary farewell to E-Series. I don't think we've had a break this long before here.
No, it's going to be certainly a little bit strange. We've also got Will Gibson in the chat saying the best part about being pole, Nathan, is we can't get double stacked. You absolutely can. If Leo learned to get straight lines it in turns 1 and ends up P20, you're more than likely going to get double stacked, Will. Hate to tell you that, bud. So I just hope for your sake, and I hope for Leo's sake, he's able to keep it within at least the top 3 under this starting lap. But let's have a look at the weather here, Nathan. It doesn't look great.
No, rather overcast here, isn't it, Josh? I mean, there's no rain, but it's Brazil. There's certainly a possibility, I think. And if there is, please, guys in the chat, let us know, because it's the type of thing that us as spectators can't view for some reason. And Will Gibson says there's no rain. Damn it. But Josh, you know, you've been my partner for 2 seasons here.
Right,
it's a finale. You have the whole rain here for the start, so don't mess it up, please.
I mean, we initially discussed beforehand that you were going to take the start.
No, I was going to take the end.
Okay, right. My bad. Oops, daisy. Well, unlucky for you, because we're going to do the start very tranquil, complete silence. We're just going to hear the engines. It's going to be like that terrible audio like we're doing in practice, where you just hear an engine lift halfway through a straight. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great content. We absolutely love to see it. But yeah, apparently no rain. Let's see if that's true. Currently, while I take a hold of a first sector, maybe even the second sector, depending on how quickly Nathan can go and grab his watering can, fly over to Brazil, and try and put some water down for the center S's, because I feel like if it was just a touch of rain, it could spice things up just a little bit more. But then again, do we really need more spice when we've got this championship battle awaiting? Currently, all the drivers are applying their strategies, choosing what they're going to go on. If anyone's going to be brave enough to try and start on perhaps even a soft tire, just to try and cause a couple overtakes here and there. But we do have everyone now on the grid ready. The 5 red lights above the pole man. Lights out, and away we go. Leo Lundberg looking to try and get a solid start. Julian Klaffenbach as well. Both of which are having absolutely tremendous wheel spin up into third gear. Tobias Koivunen having a great start there, looking to try and put it around the outside here of Angelo D'Ortenzio. He's trying to begin in the mixer just a little bit. Nelson Alves as well, keeping himself primed, awaiting for opportunity, which will come in a matter of time. Julian Klaffenbach pulls alongside Leo Lund. He's got the inside corner, heading down into the Cida de Largo, and he gets that move done as easy as you would like. Leo Lund not too interested in fighting back on that one. We've also got Lillian Devercourt making a move slightly further back on Nelson Alves, looking to try and hang it round the outside. Oh my word, is he going to be able to do that through Ferradora? I believe he might have just about pulled it off. It's going to cut back towards the inside here. All depends on how much space Topius Koivunen decides to give the TES driver. Wheel banging left, right and centre before heading into Bico de Pato. And we see the TES drivers being able to get better traction, taking that lower line, hanging it round the outside here of Tobias Koivunen, but he's had to fall back in behind the FBR driver. And everything is going brilliantly so far for that V8 and TES team. Both of them not necessarily losing too many positions, just focused on getting themselves into the headspace now. With 36 laps going here, Nathan, it's going to be a bit of a long haul, but we give them that first lap, potential everywhere.
There certainly is, as we do see Matteo Longa into the pit lane very early on, must have suffered some damage on that first lap as we continue around the Curva de Sol down the Reta Reposta for the second time in this race. It was a very interesting start between Race Clutch and TES. They were side by side all the way through from turn 1 down to around turn number 8, and at the moment it sits P5 and P8 for Tess, P6 and 7 for Race Clutch and Veloci Academy in a very good position in second and third, with Julian Klaffenbach for RHG leading the way. And then FVR again with the driver in the top 5 contention. This time, of course, Topias Koivunen, who I think was the one last time out, Josh, in Baku, who was fighting for a podium for the majority of the race until they got some damage.
Yeah, he's just up there, vibing at the minute. That's all he's got to do, isn't it? It's a long race. Everyone's going to have DRS. It's going to be a long, beautiful DRS train. People won't be looking to try and make silly moves because there's a championship on the line. He's got a great opportunity here to potentially put a little bit of pressure on Angelo, put a little bit of pressure on Leo, for them to go, second thought, don't really want to fight this. I'll just let you through and we'll overtake Julian once you get through, as he does just that. Dives it up the inside there towards the center S. Of course, it'll force him back out towards the outside, but he's going to be able to get that car straightened up just a little bit quicker. He's going to have more traction, DRS, perhaps a little bit of battery usage as well, just to aid him trying to get past Angelo. But you believe he's going to think better of it. Just sits in behind for now, not looking to make that move. Perhaps he's just going to be looking to try and get that move sorted, heading into the center S so they can trade the DRS and then let him back past on the Reta Reposta just to try and pull away from Nelson Alves. But the more you try and play track mates, the more you try and work together, overall, around Circuit like Interlagos, it's got the potential to cost you so much time. That's the last thing that the Veloci Academy want to do, and give Nelson an opportunity to catch up another position.
Certainly, just watching on board here with Lenny Papinto doing a very good job here to fend off from Jan Halliday for TES. And the good thing is, Lenny has Lillian ahead. If Jan ever puts some pressure under Lenny, he knows that he can work with Lillian to kind of block the road, so there's no way through for Jan Halliday. So this is going to, this could certainly go well here and over these next couple of laps for Race Clutch, unless Jan can look for a bit of a send. As into turn 1, we do see both of the Veloci Academy cars make a move for the lead of the Grand Prix. It's 1-2 here for Veloci Academy. And then we can see as we head our way through the Curva de Sol once again down towards the Descida de Largo. Julian Klaffenbach is on an attack here. He's on the charge, trying to make his way back into second place. He can't do so, as we do see Topias Koivunen up the inside and gets the move complete. A brilliant move there by the FVR driver, and now it's attack time for Nelson Alves. He's looking to make a move to jump up into the top 4, but this time around into Ferradura, he can't find the overtake and has to stay behind once again, unless he makes a send into turn 8. A brilliant send here, and Nelson just got to try and hold it around the outside through into turn number 9, but for now he has to concede that P5 just for a moment.
Never mind. He's sending it back up the inside here, Nathan. He's just been able to make that move, but he's going to be forced back towards the outside. This is the racing we love around Interlagos. He might have to fall back into position, but Lillian Debecourt's looking to try and make an opportunity up the inside of Jun Sao. He's going to get a worse exit here, but as long as Julian Klaffenbach moves towards that inside and gives that Lillian Debecourt just a little bit of slipstream, we could potentially see a move there, but no. Lillian decides to back off a little bit, just let that pass and let Nelson fall back into order. Now, if you're Veloce Academy, we've already had Dylan Morton in the chat suggest they're going to be looking to try and back up the field, cause a little bit of carnage further back, try and lose TES a couple of extra positions. Is that something they can really afford to do? Because at the same time, you want to backing up the field for TES to make overtakes.
And yet again, Lillian looking for a move, can't quite find it, and actually, a bit of contact between the two there. Nelson Alves and Lillian Debecourt, but it's a final race. We want to see those, high-octane moves, a bit of contact here and there to throw into the mix as we head our way back into Turn 8 once again. And we can see what Big C said in the chat. Currently, Test lead by a point here.
Yes.
And that is insane. To lose by a point is heartbreaking for Veloce Academy. But to win by a point for Test will be a relief because the start of this race hasn't gone their way at all. Only Nelson Alves is ahead of Race Clutch. Both Veloce Academies are ahead of both of the Test cars by a decent margin. Jan and Nelson have still got a lot of work to do here.
It's going to be a long afternoon. Lots of stress, especially with Topi's Coin and sending one at the inside of the center S. Very bold, very brave. Of course, he's got practically nothing to lose. He might as well go for these moves. He might as well try and cause a couple upsets. Why not? He's going to pull towards the left-hand side here, looking to try and deploy a little bit of battery. Leo Lund's just got to be careful to make sure he doesn't clip his front wing and potentially cause himself any damage as well, depending on how late he chooses to brake. And he's going to fall back in behind his teammate, Topi's Koivunen, unable to make the move there. Julian Klaffenbach built looking hungry behind, and then you've got both Race Clutch cars and Jan Halliday, all of which following each other very politely, not looking to cause any drama. I'm sure if TES knew the stakes and knew it was only 1 point, they'll be looking to try and make a move on one of the Race Clutch cars, because at the end of the day, they're not the only team which can afford to back up.
Yep.
TES are in a position, they could tell Nelson to let off a little bit, lose for DRS, and force one of the Race Clutch cars to maybe go a little bit defensive. And then Jan gets an overtake, gets a couple of extra points, and all of a sudden you're looking at about 1 point deficit for Veloce Academy, opening up to many, many more, because Jan's been able to work his way past Race Clutch, and then next thing you know, P5, P6 for TES. We know how good they are defending on track together. Surely it wouldn't be, the end of the world if they lost one position to a Race Clutch at that point.
There's lots of things that could go on in this race, and at the moment, Tess have got a lot of work to do, especially Jan, because he's going to have to try and get past two Race Clutches, and at the moment they're defending very well. You can see Lenny knows exactly where to place his car, and if needs be, Lillian can move over to the other side and defend that position as they go side by side, and Jan looked for a move and got a little bit unsteady on the curb and had to back out of that one through turn 4 and still sits in 8th place. And the thing is, it's getting more and more closer here for Harvey Cohen. He's getting closer. He's looking to try and think about a move himself here, because even though we know Veloce Academy and Tess are the main rivals for the championship, along with Race Clutch, RHG still want to be able to overtake Race Clutch in the standings. They're only about around 10-15 points off of Race Clutch here, so it's still an opportunity for RHG to jump up into 3rd here in the standings and potentially 2nd if there's a big mess up by Veloce Academy. As we go again down towards turn number 1. Lots of places to watch for moves here. Nelson Alves closing in on Julian. We've got Topius again closing in on Leo Lund, and also Caden Luck there looking to close in on Harvey Cohen as we head our way into turn number 1.
This is a part of the race I don't like. Everyone somewhat chooses to settle down a little bit, as we do have Patrick Seapos speeding in towards a pit lane and retires from the session. Unfortunate to see.
I think there were some internet issues, because when I looked at them earlier on, Patrick was jumping all over the place. So not ideal at all for Patrick.
More sensible thing to do. But all of a sudden here, we're looking. Leo Lund, he's been forced to go around the outside here. Tobias Coden managed to sneak himself up towards the inside. But again, unfortunate not being able to make the move. And now are we starting to see a couple of these team games being played by Veloce Academy, just trying to force maybe 1 or 2 cars to take alternate lines and give an opportunity to one of the Race Clutch cars to try and overtake Nelson Alves. Because to me, that's kind of what it looked like. It didn't look like Topius decided to burn too much battery to try and get alongside Leo. It looked very much like Leo decided to back off just a little bit.
Yep.
And invite an attack.
Could have also been a bit of a mistake there from Leo Lund heading through turn 4. We know it's a bit of a vicious corner if you get caught on that curb on the exit, so that could have also been the case there for Leo Lund, because the last thing he wants is a car trying to get past him, especially up the inside at Ferragura at turn number 6 as we head our way back down to turn 1 again. Still, both of the Veloce Academy cars fend off Topius and Julian, of course, both in different teams themselves, but they'll be working together to push forward and try and take down that Veloce Academy army sitting in P1 and P2. And we look further behind as well. Race Clutch, TES, they're still in their little battle, but that one's calmed down a little bit. They're not so aggressive on the rear of each other. They're just focusing on getting to the end of this first stint, looking what they can do to optimise their pit stop, whether it's a couple of laps early, a couple of laps late. They'll be looking here to try and jump ahead of the other team. So that'll be the thing that their engineers are focusing on. What can they do to jump ahead of the other cars and give themselves an advantage?
Absolutely. How early do you want to call it undercut? How long do you want to stretch an overcut? There's so many sort of different ways the engineers are going to have to approach this. It's going to have to be very flexible, very reactionary, depending on the scenarios they find themselves in. A driver who's been really trying to give it his all over the last couple of laps, Keenan Luck, currently in P10. He's caught right up to the back of Harvey Cohen, and he's applying so much pressure to the REG driver at the minute. FPR looking like in a great position here to get themselves a very much well-earned handful of points, as we do have both of the VA cars going side by side here into the center S's. Once again, just trying to cause a little bit of chaos up towards the front end of this pack. But we've got to be careful, because all of a sudden, Topius Cloverton gets a brilliant run. He's going to be looking to try and cause a little bit of an upset down Radar Aposta, or maybe even into the seat of Delago, depending on how late he decides to brake. Chooses not to go for the move there. Just waits, just biding his time, waiting another lap. Last thing I'm sure Topius would want is to be the reason why Veloce Academy wouldn't be able to win this championship if he accidentally goes into a side Leoland. That's surely weighing on his mind as well here.
Yeah, definitely, because there's still a lot of pressure here on everybody at this moment. And, you know, just say Julian or Topius get into contact with Veloce Academy or Tess and Race Clutch behind, they're going to have some strict words by many members of the community for that. So they've also got to keep in mind that they want to win, but they also don't want to really disrupt a championship battle, because at the same time as well, you know, if a mistake from one of those teams causes one of them, one of the others to lose a championship, you feel a bit disappointed, because, you've broken a champion away from a team. As we head our way back down to turn 1 again, Angelo and Leo Lund swapping positions, and Topius sits behind in third with Julian Klaffenbach in fourth. And the funny thing is, we haven't seen that much swap around. We haven't seen that many changes for position. The main thing we've seen is really Topius trying to get ahead of the Veloce Academy car, but every occasion he's had the chance, he's never been able to do so.
Yeah, and it does really show what the VA cars are doing. They're just trying to back people up just a little bit. Not enough where it's in a vulnerable position. We do see Nelson Alves looking to try and dance his way around the outside. Absolute phenomenal stuff there from Nelson if he's able to hold on to this move. It's going to, of course, turn back towards the inside here. Brilliant stuff there from Nelson Alves. And all of a sudden, that point, that was singular point VA needed. Looks like it's going to be a little bit more work, because now Julian Klaffenbach seems to be all over the place. Lillian Dovercourt's looking to try and make a move there as well. Surely you're going to be able to get that one sorted. Race Clutch there, moving up a position. Brilliant stuff there from him. Unfortunate there for Julian, but it's part of the nature of his track, isn't it? You fall out of rhythm, you get off a racing line trying to defend a position. Next thing you know, you're losing 2, 3, 4 positions, given how close this entire field is as well.
Certainly, as we do see yet again more attacks into turn 1. We do see Julian looking to get a move on Lenny. We do see Topius again making a launch here on Angelo D'Ortenzio into turn 1. We got Lillian as well, along with Nelson Alves down for P4 and P5 as we head our way out to turn 3. The Curve of Assault down the Reta Aposta once again, and now we can see both Race Clutch cars under attack here from Julian Klaffenbach, who jumps back up into P5. Lenny gets past his teammate Lillian Debecourt as they head their way into turn 4, and Nelson Alves again on the attack, this time looking for a move for third place.
He's in the hunt, isn't he? He's looking. He's just waiting for that opportunity, and he might not have to wait too much longer. He goes for a little bit of a cheeky send up the inside, backs out immediately, realizing that Topius Cloverton has nothing to lose, and he's not willing to give that position up any easier than any of his championship competitors, literally pushing him through Bika de Pato before heading through Megalo and up in towards Jun Sao. He's going to be looking for a pass, but it tells me now that these guys, they're looking to race. They're looking to try and make a little bit of a gap, a little bit of distance, because this is where the pit window could potentially start shaking stuff up a little bit.
Definitely, as we do see here, the attacks once again. Topias looking to close in on Leo Lund, who closes back up to his teammates. As Jan Halliday makes a move past Lillian Debcor into turn one. Leon has to try and hang it around the outside, can't quite do so. Nearly gets a bit of a tap there from Harvey Cohn as they head their way through the first couple of corners here at the Cenaresses. And yet again, they head down to turn four. Once again here, Nelson on the charge. We can see Harvey there making a pass ahead of Lillian Debcor. That's not what Race Clutch want here. If they still want to be in that fight for the championship at the moment, their fight is fully gone here, and they'll be remaining in that third place and possibly under pressure from R8G as Caden Lutney looks to make a move ahead of Lillian Debcor. Round the outside into turn number 8 they go. And you can see yet again Lillian, though, going to try and fight back past Harvey, but can't quite make the move. And now Caden's back on the lunge as they head their way into turn 10.
Yeah, trying to hang it back around the outside, but of course, that'll naturally turn back towards the inside line. Lillian Debcor is destined to fall down into P10. We've asked for a tyre check in chat for everyone to see there. You can all see everyone's on that hard compound tyre. But let's not forget how powerful a potential undercut could be. If you're able to nurture medium tyres for the distance, it'll be a very tall task, but we are heading towards that stage of a race where if anyone wants to try and be very cheeky, if anyone wants to try and potentially go 3 wide down into turn 1 there, brilliant stuff so far for all these drivers to keep it all well under control, as we do see Nelson Alves there looking to hang it around the outside. But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do that in the second part of the Center S's. Now, Julian Clafenbach's got a great run here in P5. He's going to be looking to try and get past Nelson Evers and maybe even try and send one of the inside Topias Coven and thinks better of it. Decides to live to fight another day. But Nelson Evers falling himself back down into P5. All that hard work is unraveling at a rapid rate of knots as Lenny now dancing himself around the outside. All of a sudden, Julian Clafenbach seems to be a bit of a cork in the bottle here for TES. As now Lenny Pepinta gets that inside line. Great work. Very opportunistic there from Race Clutch. And now TES down in P6 and P7. If I'm not mistaken, that would now mean that Veloce Academy are winning the championship.
It'll be close. I think it's still a couple of points between the two. It might be, I think, like 3 or 4 points in Tez's favour at the moment. As we head our way to John Say once again down towards turn number 1. The attacks are underway. Harvey Cohen on the back of Jan Halliday here. Harvey's on the attack, looking to make a move. Can't go to the left, has to go to the right, and then might even look to the left again as they head their way down to turn 1, but thinks better of it and stays behind as we head our way into turn 1. And we do see there Tony Roche losing a position there. I think to Tudor Pressacan heading through these Center S's and through the curved assault again. And the battles go on, and this time Topias isn't quite close enough here to Angelo to make a move into turn 4. Roche gets back ahead of Pressacan as they head their way into turn 4, and Kryzix making a move ahead of Jerry Van Bussel as we head our way up the hill into turn 6 at Ferrojura. The gaps are slowly starting to increase in paces here as we do see Kellen look though on the attack of Harvey Cohen into turn 8.
Yeah, he's looking for it once again down the inside, but he just knows he's going to be forced towards the outside, and that move is not going to be on for him right there at that moment. But there's so many opportunities around this circuit, so many times you can prime yourself to try and get a better run out of a corner, so many times you can try and dial up a move, but it doesn't matter how much you dial it up, because all it takes is one driver to feel a little bit more confident than the other, and next thing you know, you're getting forced around the outside. It's being made difficult, so much more difficult for you at the moment. This has been absolutely phenomenal so far, and an absolute masterclass to show younger sim racers how you should race given the circumstances of a potential championship. As Julian Clafenbach there sends one to the inside, a little bit of wheel banging into the center. Topias Koivunen now being forced down into P4, and all of a sudden Lenny Pepintas here is having a great run down the rail Raposa, and surely he'll be able to make himself a move in a matter of moments. But no, backs off, not able to get the slipstream from Julian. Julian gave the slipstream back to Topias Koivunen, perhaps as maybe a bit of an apology. But then again, he's just been knocked out of P3. Is he going to take that as an apology? Probably not.
As we head our way up to turn 8 once more, of course, Julian now up into that top 3 for R8G. Remember, they are in the battle for 3rd and potentially 2nd place here in this race, so they want to try and make as many positions as possible as we head our way through Bico de Paso again in towards Maguglio at turn number 11, and Camel and Matteo still swapping round for P18 and P19. Hasn't gone well for those two here in this Grand Prix, and of course that for Ferrari and Tatum Restec team as we go again down to turn 1. What moves can happen this time around? Because Lenny's right on the rear. Topias Koivunen here looking to try and jump up into P4 here for Race Clutch. Julian's on the back of Angelo D'Ortenzio. He's going to look to put Veloce Academy under pressure. Into turn 1 we go. Julian's on the outside here. That will bring it to the inside at turn 2 and can't quite find the move, and still Angelo stays in that second place. But because of all that, look at all the cars looking to make moves. Topias, Lenny all getting involved in this battle as they head their way down to turn 4. Who's going to be in second, third and fourth? Surprisingly, Josh, it stays the exact same as it was before.
That is miraculous how we've been able to hold on to positions and no swaps happening there whatsoever, given that run out of center S. Fantastic stuff. It's all getting so tense now. All of a sudden, you're looking at all the way back here to Tudor Press can be in at the end of a trade. Everyone is so close to one another, looking to try and make moves, waiting for someone to make a mistake to be able to capitalize on it. But at this level of sim racing, waiting for a mistake, you might be waiting until the very last lap, if not waiting forever, because these drivers are meticulous with their lines, with how they apply the throttle. Their mistakes are so minimal. You've got to be absolutely on the ball to try and catch them out, given any sort of circumstance. But Julian Klappenbach here is going to be able to get himself a great run. Already Angelo going defensive towards that inside line. Julian having to sweep it back around towards the outside, trying to outbrake him. Runs so deep there in the center S, but is able to hold on to that to P3 for now. Topias Corbin is going to have a brilliant run. So is Lenny Papinta behind. Julian is on the back foot down the road of Raposa, Nathan. It's looking very spicy, but it doesn't seem to matter how people take that first part of the center S, because everyone seems to be able to work their way somewhat around it to be able to get a great run down the road of Raposa. Brilliant stuff so far.
And now the tyre graphic returns on screen because pit stops are starting to happen. We've hit lap 17, lap 18. Cars will be thinking about heading into the pits very shortly, especially those in the top 3 for the championship. They need to make sure they make their pit stop work and that an undercut / overcut goes in their favour. As of course we have seen Isaac Leet, Tony Roche, Pascal Ranieri and Tudor Pressacan pit in the last lap or two, and we'll see who of these top 6 are going to go in next as we head our way out of the final couple of corners to begin lap 19 of 36. Does Leo Lund pit from the lead, or will he stay out on track? He'll stay out. Many cars choosing to stay out at this point here, so it shows that there must be some heavy undercuts. Jan Halliday is into the pits here for TES. He's going for that early undercut over those ahead, and I think now he's made that pit stop, that's going to make the minds of Veloce Academy and Race Switch think, well, if he's pitted early, he's going to be on a bit of an advantage. We need to pit as well to cover off from that undercut as we head our way into turn 4. Covenant looking to make a move ahead of Klappenbach, but just not quite close enough, and still stays in P4 unless he can launch an attack up to Ferragura here. Unless Papinta can make a move, and he can. Around the outside, Papinta tries to stick it ahead of the FER car. They still head side by side into turn 8. Bit of a rear lock up there for Topias Covenant. Lenny has the inside line and gets a move complete. A brilliant move there by Lenny Papinta and Race Clutch.
Cool, calm and collected there from the young Lenny Papinta. Brilliant stuff, getting himself there up into P4. Topias Covenant now, he's just got to keep his head. He's got to make sure he's able to keep himself dialed in. Understand, okay, we'll go again. Rear lockup. Maybe I was just a bit too aggressive on the brakes because I don't want to lose any more positions and potentially put himself out of contention for a podium here for FVI. It would be absolutely massive, as we do see Nelson Alves diving himself back in towards the pits, and he's not alone. He's got FVR car of Topias in front of him, Angelo D'Ortenzio as well. Both the RHGs opting to stay out. Lenny Papinta, Julian Klappenbach, Leo Lund. Very interesting there. TES opting to go for the undercut, getting both cars in comparison to the rest of the pack. And Jan Halliday here, unfortunately for him, finds himself behind Isaac Lee, Tony Roche, and it's not ideal. He's going to have a little bit of work to do to be able to get back past them. But important part, he's going to be able to come out ahead of his championship rivals because he's got that one lap undercut. It's going to be a drag race down the Retta Raposta with Angelo D'Ortenzio, but it won't surprise me if, because he's got warmer tyres, he's going to have a favourable line heading through Fedadora and of course into Bica de Pato. We might potentially see an overtake there, as we do have, I do believe that's Cryx in the pits at the moment. It's a yellow flag in sector 1.
Yeah, so not. Oh, what's happened there? Oh no, who is it then? It's Tudor's. Oh, Tudor's retired.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So that's just put his car into the pit lane. So that does really harm TRT in keeping ahead of TF10 here. Of course, TF10 are around 20. No, they're 18 points behind TRT. So TF10 could jump up into that sixth place here into the championship, as we do see Leo Lund and Lenny Papinta make their pit stops, and still both of the RHG cars stay out on circuit, that being Julian Klappenbach and Harvey Coben. Everybody else has been in. Say that. Along with them is going to be Jerry Van Bussel for CPI. So at the moment, Isaac Leet is your net race leader ahead of Tony Roche, as we've had not an issue. That was Tudor's retired car heading into turn 4 and hopefully pulling off and out of the way.
Yes, reliable. Please.
Let's see here. Leo Lund has came out behind Nelson Alves. That is key for TES in this championship now. Leo Lund has got to fight hard to get past Leo, and Nelson certainly isn't going to make that an easy job here.
No, and we do know Leo Lund, he's been criticised previously for some of his overtaken antics, being maybe a little bit too aggressive. If there's a time to be a little bit aggressive, you would argue it would be for a championship for your team. So, I say to Leo, absolutely go for it. Why not?
Certainly, as we do see there further behind, I think it was Elliot Tomasetto looking for a move on Caden Look there to jump up into P8, but couldn't quite make the move on that occasion. Now we have Harvey Cohen into the pit lane for R8G. And still, Isaac Leet leads the way. Angelo D'Ortenzio on the charge, looking to make a move ahead of Tony Roche. He's going to pull to the outside. Jan Halliday also on the back of Angelo, looking to try and find a move into turn 1. Bit of a blockade here. Angelo could be under pressure from Jan Halliday. Into turn 1 we go. Around the outside, up to the inside for Angelo. Trying to get past Tony Roche. Can't quite do so and still stays behind in net third place here. As we head down to turn 4, Angelo swaps to the inside line. He's going to burn some battery, but can't make the move. And now Tobias Koivunen ahead of Leo Lund. Leo has to hang it around the outside if he can do so, but he can't. Nelson Alves pretty much lets through Tobias Koivunen, and Leo Lund drops down to P11, drops down to P12 as Lenny Pinto makes a superb move. This is brilliant work here by Nelson Alves. He's got damage. He knows he's got not much to do here in terms of making position, so his job is to make Leo Lund's life absolute hell, but it only lasts for a few corners. Leo Lund up into P11.
Yeah, and Nelson understanding there that the battle is lost and he's not able to continue it with Leo Lund, and wisely choosing to back off here. Now, I don't want to say this, but TES are going to need an absolute miracle from Jan Halliday in order to hold on to this championship. If Leo Lund's able to get himself through the pecking order, it's going to be a tall order, though. Lenny Pinto, Tobias Koivunen, Elliot Tomasetto, Keaton Lutt, Jan Halliday in order for him to get back next to his teammate. Of course, Julian Klappenbach as well is going to be right behind him, with Harvey Cohen applying a little bit of pressure, which I'm sure he won't necessarily be a fan of. But Angelo D'Ortenzio is showing how it's done, dissecting his way through the pack. Jan Halliday, more than happy just to follow him at the minute. He knows all he's got to do is be able to beat one of these VA cars, and he should be in a very favourable position. Keenan, look, absolutely going for it there with Isaac. Brilliant stuff there. We're seeing great battles forming all up and down this grid, Nathan. It's hard to keep track of, but my word, are we being spoiled for choice tonight? Indeed,
but it's not looking good here for Nelson Alves. Of course, having that damage on his car does put him into a bit of a predicament here. Leo Lund on the charge again, this time trying to get ahead of Lenny Pepinta. There's a lot on the line here for Leo Lund, and he could be the hero for Veloce Academy today if he can make some of these moves, because Nelson Alves here is in such a poor position. P13 will drop even further because Julian Klaffenbach is going to be closing in shortly to make a move. And for now, Leo Lund does jump ahead of Lenny Pepinta. Now is on the back of Tobias Koivunen. This is an absolute charge by Leo Lund. He's made 3 positions in the last 2 laps. He's looking to make it 4. As we head down to turn 1, we got moves at the front as well. Jerry Van Bussel is still staying out on the hard tyres. He's looking to try and cause an upset here on lap 24 of 36, 12 to go. And at the moment, you can't call at all what's going to happen here as we head our way down to turn 4 again. Lund looking to make a move past Koivunen, as we do see Jan Halliday up into 3rd, and Angelo D'Ortenzio still stays in 2nd place. Can't find the move past Tony Roche, and I've got to say he's done a perfect job here for TF10 to put them into winning contention here.
Brilliant stuff, and now it's looking like this is heating up. Any which way you look, Jerry Van Bussel very much just trying to survive on those hard compound tyres. But it looks like he's going to get danced around the outside of there by Elliot Tomasetto. Isaac Lee coming through now, not looking to fight his teammate too hard, but Leo Lund's certainly going to take that position as well. And now he's being a bit of a cork in the ball to the race clutch car. Lenny Pepinta directly behind him. Tobias Koivunen trying to dance around the outside. He's going to get better braking because he's on the fresher medium tyres. And next thing you know, Jerry Van Bussel's all the way down into P9 in a matter of seconds. He's already lost 4 or 5 positions, given the nature of this Interlagos circuit. This is absolutely fantastic. Nelson Alves, where the question remains, he's choosing...
Oh my, Julian is into the barriers on the straight. I can't believe what I just saw. And Julian's race is over. Oh my goodness, Josh. Did you see that as well?
I did. Yellow flag in sector 1. For a moment, I thought we was going to get a safety car to spice things up even further. But thankfully, safety car, Bert Mylander stays in the pit lane. doesn't want to interfere with this. It's been absolutely fantastic so far. Why would he? He might as well set up a TV as a safety car at this point. Absolutely fantastic. Keaton Lowe as well. Currently sitting in P4. Obviously went for that earlier call into the pitch, but he's keeping Jan Halliday honest. Nelson Alvarez as well, now picking up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Unfortunate for Nelson, but he's doing everything he can to try and push that car to its absolute limits. And who can blame him?
Well, we go again. 11 laps to go. About to make it 10 here in this race. And TF10 in a brilliant position here to take a P1 and P5. Something we haven't seen from them at all throughout this season. We go again. Nelson's got a penalty, so he's pretty much out of a top 10 finish here tonight. Angelo D'Ortenzio takes the lead for Veloce Academy, but Jan Halliday is not far behind. He jumps into second place. Leo Lund is in 5th place now. He's only got a couple more positions before he faces Jan Halliday, and I'm sure Veloce Academy are going to make Jan's life absolute hell at this moment. Julian Klaffenbach is into the pits for R8G. We do see further behind Jan Halliday take the lead into turn 4. A brilliant move there by Jan Halliday, who leads the race on the final 10 laps here in Brazil. He's got to do all he can here to keep Veloce Academy behind. As we head our way down towards turn 8, Angelo is still keeping himself ahead of Tony Roche. Keaton Lund as well, he's looking to make moves, and so is Leo Lund. He's just sitting behind in P5, just waiting for something to happen so he can make a send here, Josh.
Oh, this is boiling up beautifully. Angelo, surely he's just going to have to try and wait for this moment. He knows Tony Roche and Keaton aren't going to have the tyres to be able to follow him through on Jan Halliday unless it's a huge mistake from Jan, or unless Angelo goes for a really aggressive move and it freaks Jan out enough to make him, steer out of a corner, which realistically, it's not going to happen. Jan's been here before. He's been in championship contentions. He knows the pressure he's under. He's calculated. He's calm. He's looking to try and be able to do everything in his power to secure TES this championship, as Leo Lund looking to try and dance himself around the outside of the first part of center rest. He does that successfully. Up into P4. Tony Roche ahead of him. He's looking to keep himself cracking as Harvey Cohen's following him through a best of his abilities. Currently sitting there battling for P6. He gets that move sorted. Next up for Harvey is going to be Elia Tomasetto. But it's easier said than done, making sure you can navigate your way through the circuit as carefully as possible. Wouldn't surprise me as well if we see the 2 FVR car swap positions as well, given Topius is going to be on the fresher preferential tyres to be on, especially with Lenny Papinta all over the back of him, trying to get any move sorted possible. This is ridiculous.
It is, with 9 laps to go here. And Jan Halliday leads ahead of Angelo D'Ortenzio. Roche 3rd here. Still, brilliant drive by TF10. But Leo Lund won't let him stay there for much longer here as we head our way out of John Sew again, down towards turn 1 at the centre S's. Let's see here what moves are made. We can see further back there, Lenny Papinta looking to make an overtake on Topius Koivunen here. FVR also having a storm of a Grand Prix, but Leo Lund's on the attack down to turn 1. Angelo's looking to the inside to make a move on Halliday. He has to defend here from Roche. Lund's going to be on the power here, trying to make a move ahead of the TF10 car and can't do so for now, but Tony Roche has had a poor exit, but it's not enough for Leo Lund to make an overtake and get himself ahead. Further back we do see Papinta looking to make a 2-wide move into turn 4 and get himself ahead of Topius Koivunen, which he does do. Lenny Papinta into 8th place.
Oh, Jonas being the calculator in chat here once again. Let's find that message and quote it. If VA get a 1-2, TES need a P4 and P12 for Veloce Academy to win it. Oof. Well, with things as they stand, Nelson Alvarez looking to try and hunt down the Interval to try and catch P11. But Nelson, with that wing damage, not in a preferential position. Let's not kid ourselves here. In order to overtake Lillian, might have to rely on Lillian having some form of damage as well. But Jan Halliday certainly doing everything in his power to help TES get towards his championship, get it across the line. Leo, there you go. Lovely. Love to see it. Danced himself around the outside. Harvey Cohen as well needs to get involved in this fight if, of course, we're going to be trying to push TES down into P4 for Veloce Academy. He's going to have to follow him through, and unfortunately, Harvey just isn't able to carry that pace through. Tony Roche now going extra defensive, offering his teammate Slipstream, and Elliot Tomasetto's been able to jump himself back up into P5. Fantastic racing for both the TF10 cars, working together in perfect unison to secure P4, P5 at this moment in time.
Indeed.
I feel like Harvey might have his work cut out for him here in this race.
And with a result like that for TF10, they could easily jump themselves up into P6 in the standings ahead a Tatum ResTech team who haven't been looking too strong in this race. They currently sit 18th and 19th. Well, of course, that 19th being a DNF, so they'll only be scoring, I think, 3 points in this race as it stands. Not the way they want this to go. As we just see there, Lenny Pipinta closing in on the back of Keegan Luck. But I want to watch here what TES can do, well, what Jan Halliday can do to stop Veloci Academy from behind. So Angelo's going to close in here. Battery being deployed, DRS being utilised down to turn 1. We see a move by Angelo. We could see a move by Leo Lund. 1-2 for Veloci Academy on lap 30 of 36, and Jan Halliday has now got his work cut out for him. Veloci Academy fought through on that overcut, at least from Leo Lund, and now Leo's into second place. Jan's in third, and further back we can see the gaps increasing because Harvey Cohen is making it 3 wide into turn 4, has to back out, and Elliot Tomasetto jumps up into P4, and this is helpful here for Tess if TF10 and those behind start to drop back more, because look at that behind. Both of the FVRs and Lenny Pipinta getting involved.
But VA, mate, they've got the 1-2. They've got the track position. They can back Jan up to be in a vulnerable position to whoever's going to be behind. All they need is a little bit of one of the cars behind to have just a little bit more battery, willing to dump down the Aeroposta. And then you're looking at Jan falling down to P4, being off his line, heading into that middle sector. And we've seen before how that can disrupt their entire run through the rest of the lap. We've seen, especially from Lillian's side, falling down the order through no fault of his own, just being forced off of the line.
And Jan again looking to make a move down to turn number 1 on the charge after Angelo D'Ortenzio. And as we do see in the chat, Jan Halliday needs to finish P3 here, or of course higher, to give Tess the championship. If he finishes P4 or lower, and Veloci Academy finish 1-2, then it will go Veloci Academy's way. So Jan Halliday's going to try his best here to keep Elliot Tomasetto behind and to try and get a move here ahead of Angelo D'Ortenzio into turn 4. Looks for the dummy, backs out and leaves Angelo in that second place. But look how quickly Elliot Tomasetto is catching up. This is working here. Angelo's backing up Jan to allow Elliot to try and send a move into turn 8 possibly. As we go into turn 8 now, does Tomasetto make the move? No, he stays back for now. As we head our way through number 2, turn number 8 and turn number 9. And Tomasetto's closing in. He's looking to make a move. He knows here he can get a podium for TF10. If Tess loses the championship because of it, he's not bothered. All he wants is for TF10 to get a podium position here. Harvey Cohen as well, he's got his own battles with Lenny Pipinta behind. But remember, RIG is still trying to fight for third place here in the championship. So there's so many things going on here, Josh. And still so many things to decide with what will be 4 laps to go as they cross the line next time around. And Jan Halliday on the charge.
Absolutely, he's all over the back of Angelo D'Ortenzio, but of course Angelo knows how to position that car. He's done it for that entire first stint. Brilliant stuff there. Cuts off Jan, doesn't let him have the inside line. Jan forced there to take a slightly different line, but he's got such a good run. Oh, very cheeky here from Angelo D'Ortenzio, not going on the throttle as soon as Jan would have wanted, trying to back him up, heading down the Aeroposta to give Elliot Tomasetto any form of opportunity to try and make the move into the Cedar de Largo, but it's just not on. The cards aren't open there at the moment. Elliot Tomasetto getting a brilliant run. And now we're seeing once again, Angelo just choosing to back it up just a little bit. Not necessarily pushing that car to the absolute extremities that we're seeing Jan try and do at the moment. And it's all a little bit of a cat and mouse at the moment. Angelo's waiting for Elliot or Harvey or Lenny or Tony or Keegan or someone to make that move on Jan to try and disrupt his flow. But Jan keeping it calm, cool, collected. He's not getting frustrated. He understands exactly what Angelo's doing. It's all calculated. Jan just needs to make sure he's got enough battery in the tank, so when Angelo does do these sort of things, he's got enough battery to be able to sweep past him, absolutely dump it and fully go for it.
Harvey
And
Cohen
it might be right here.
He's looking to close in. Jan Halliday's looking to close in as well. We're potentially going to go 3 wide into turn number 1. Here we go. Halliday's looking for a move on Angelo. Can't make it work. Harvey Cohen into P4. A brilliant move there by the R8G driver. He's now going to be on the back of Jan Halliday. And this, look at this here from Angelo. He backs up Jan Halliday. Harvey is in 4th place. He's looking to try and get into 3rd place and disrupt the championship here for Tess on the final couple of laps. And he makes a move. And as it stands for Veloci Academy, lead the championship with 3 laps to go. Jan Halliday drops down to 4th place. What an ending we're going to have here, Josh. I can't believe it.
This is ridiculous. If you had this on the cards when you started watching this stream, you're lying. No way did we think it was going to come down to the last 3 laps here. And now all of a sudden, the question remains, how much further does Harvey want to go? He's on the freshest tyres out of this entire group. He's 2 lap fresher than Angelo in front of him. and won that freshman Leo Lund. Is there a potential for Harvey to get an overtake on Angelo D'Ortenzio here?
There certainly is. And this is not what Veloce Academy need, because if they get overtaken, then Tess are back in it again. This is all decided on what Harvey Cohen can do here. Around the outside into turn 1. Harvey looks to make the move. Back up to the inside through turn 2. And Harvey gets the move, and as it stands, Tess are back in it, potentially. But what can Angelo do? Down the Reta Raposta moves back into second place, and Jan is on the attack into turn 4. He's not finished yet. Harvey has to hang it around the outside. He does so, and Harvey stays in third place. And Elliot Tomasetto looking to make a move. Does he take fourth place away? Does he make it even worse for Tess here? He's got the inside line. Harvey makes a mistake. Ellie's in a position to make a move into turn number 8 to get into P4. And as we stand, yet again, Jan Hade is under pressure. Into turn 10 we go. Josh, what can Jan Hade do now?
He's just got to hope and make sure he's got enough of that battery. He's saved enough of his tyres to fully push these last 2 laps, because he needs to make moves right here, right now, because that championship has fallen out of his grasps as we speak. He's got to make 2 moves in 2 laps here, with Angelo D'Ortenzio having to hold his position for Veloce Academy. Harvey Cohen is doing everything in his power to not care about the championship. No. He wants to just climb positions, and that's exactly the mentality you need to have when teams are fighting for a championship. You just need to do what you can do best, and what these guys do best is sim racing. It's by having these moments. It's by showing their passion, and it's exactly what Harvey Cohen is doing right here, right now. VA are doing everything in their power to make sure Jan lost those positions. Jan's doing everything in his power to make sure he's able to climb back up to P3. Harvey Cohen, Elliot Tomasetto, they're doing everything in their power to get the best result possible for their team. It is going down to the wire here, Nathan, and I could not be happier.
As we go on to, very shortly, the final lap of the race, and Veloce Academy are trying all their best here to hold on to what could be the most dramatic championship finale we've ever seen here in PSGL. Never mind just in E-Series. Tess have led it the whole way. The first 9 rounds of the championship, they've been leading it. And at the moment, it's falling apart on the final lap here around Brazil, the championship finale. And it all comes down to this final lap here. Into turn 1 we go. Jan Herde's looking for a move here on Elliot. Josh, bro, I don't think there's anything he can do.
Yeah, confirmation in chat there as well. Angelo is able to fall down to P3 and still wrap the championship up in Veloce Academy's favour. He doesn't have to defend here from Harvey with Jan in P5. Now Jan's fallen down into P6. It's all unravelled in a matter of seconds here for TES. These last 6 laps have been so hard. Jan has done everything in his power to try and grab as many points as possible, but it's not looking like it's going to swing in their favour. Harvey is doing everything in his power to try and grab that P2 as well. But Angelo has held firm so far, Nathan. This has been so ridiculously good.
Yeah, it has been. And I do feel for Tess a lot here, because they've been such a dominant force this whole season. But we head into John Sew again for the final time in this race. And unless Harvey can make a move, which I don't know if he can, it's going to be close as they head their way to the line. And in dramatic scenes, it looks like the championship will go to Veloce Academy after being 30 points behind in this race, 55 points back in Baku in round 9. They take the championship. No one can quite believe it. And Tess, who have been such a brilliant team, we kind of had it from round 1 that they were the team to do this if any team couldn't. And it falls apart. 3 laps to go. Veloce Academy win it. And I can't describe how I feel now for Tess. I can't describe how I feel for Veloce Academy. But what an ending we've had here, Josh. I can't put it into words. No one expected this. Not Veloce Academy, not Tess. No one, nobody. And look at the gap there. 4 points. 4.
That is ridiculous. Absolute heartbreak for TES, especially on Nelson Alves' side, picking up the damage, which, to be quite honest with you, I don't think he would have been responsible for it. We've seen him race so many times here, be so clean, be so cautious. And this time, of all the times to pick up front end plate damage, absolute heartbreak for TES. But you cannot take anything away from Veloce Academy. Given the double stacks they've had over this championship, all the hardship, they have been able to pull off what might be the comeback of the decade already. 5 years in.
I mean,
absolute fantastic stuff.
This is just something I would never have expected here. And to make it even worse for Tess, Harvey was 36 thousandths on the back of Angelo. If he got that move, Tess might have still had that chance to win it. It's a shame for Tess because we knew from the start they'd do it. But Veloce Academy, you can't help but just give a pat on the back to them because that has been insane. By Liam and Angelo on the final race, they know they were going into it on the backhand heavily. 30 points to make up in E-Series is insane, and they've done it. They've done a brilliant job, and they're going to be over the moon. The team's going to be over the moon because it's just an unexpected gift to Veloce Academy. As we, now end the season, we're going to head our way over to the interview page because I want to see some words from Veloce Academy. I'm not going to bother asking Tess because I don't think it's fair to after losing in such a harsh way in the end, but that was insane.
That is absolutely mental. Really, really, like, you just can't put it into words, can you? That is ridiculous.
We're going to see if we can get a word possibly from one of them. We'll also get Harvey Cohen in as well for a chat.
Yes, absolutely.
And Josh, if you could just ask one of the managers from VF that'd like to join, just bring Harvey in. So, Harvey, welcome in to the commentary box. Can you hear us?
Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. So, P3, brilliant job by yourself, and of course, I don't think you're going to beat Race Clutch and get into third. But if not, it was very close, very tight margins. But I mean, that race was insane, and to think it was then into your hands of who won the championship there.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that, it's a lot. Obviously, I didn't think about that in the moment. There's a championship going on, but I want the best for me. I'm fighting to prove myself. So, championship or not, I still wanted the win. But to get a podium finally, my results seem to be going my way. But yeah, definitely a tough season for the team not to get higher than P4.
Yeah.
Everyone back at the team, everyone in the team, from the engineers, the drivers, everyone that's been part of this team has contributed towards this result. And I think, we wanted more, but we should be proud that we've at least got this far. We've put in the results we have. I mean, Julian, all season long, stellar results. It's just sometimes couldn't go our way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at the gap, you're around, I think, 40, 50 points behind the championship leaders, which is an AVA, which, watching your season, it's been nowhere near that. You've had so many unfortunate results due to contact damage. I mean, I remember Julian at Canada dropping down to pretty much last place. And it's all those little things. If that didn't happen, you could have also been a team in this race fighting for the championship. So I think it's not been an ideal result, but considering what's happened, P4 is, definitely very good indeed. So going into this, was the preparation very heavy? Was you trying hard to try and fight for that final podium here for you and Julian?
I think obviously we wanted to prepare. We've come off the back of a great result for the team in Baku. Julian winning, me with my comeback drive P4. So I think we wanted to build on that. But obviously the main aim never really was the championship. I mean, Don't get me wrong, we would have been over the moon if we got it, but we knew we were in an extremely unlikely position. So we just kind of focused on doing the best race we could. I know Julian got a bit unlucky this race. I'm not too sure what went on, but he for sure had the pace to be up there with the strategy. And yeah, I think we just maximised the result as much as we could. Obviously, there's some people out there that need to grow up a little bit. Wheel hooking, acting pretty immature for their age, which ruins chances, ruins league racing, to be honest. Not a very good look, but is what it is. One day they'll learn their lesson. They'll realise that it's not really good racing. It's not being a good driver doing that. But yeah, I maximised the result today. I just have fun out there racing. I'm enjoying it a bit more, just loving the overtakes, fighting through the field.
Definitely, it was a really good job indeed. It was great watching you. Anything from you, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It was clear. It was absolutely evident you had nothing to give about a championship at that point. You just wanted to race. You wanted to try and get as high a position as possible. How can you have that mindset when you know there's so much at stake for the teams around you to just go, hey, I'm here for my team. I'm here for me. I'm just going to give it my all.
Well, it's never easy to do that. I mean, there's you've got the TES lads over in Prague. I saw them today. I was speaking to them. I'm close to all the Veloce guys, but end of the day, I'm fighting for me. I'm fighting to show myself and what I can actually do. I just couldn't really care at that moment on the track what was going on. On my own person, what happens happens. I know I'm not going to cause any controversy. I know I'm a clean driver, so I don't really have to worry about taking anyone out. So yeah, just kind of had fun.
Brilliant, lovely to hear. Self-assured, self-confidence. So, the question remains, of course, no more E-Series for F125. Sorry, F124. Are we going to see you back for F125?
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'm not too sure what is going to go on with me, where I'm going to be. But I'd love to be back racing. You know, I'm finding my love again for it. It's slowly coming, the confidence and the love for racing. But we'll have to see. I'd love to be back on the grid, but it's kind of out of my hands at the minute.
Absolutely. That's it from me. Once again, congratulations, Harvey. Very well done. It's been a pleasure having you over the course of a season as well. Big pat on yourself. Pat on your back for yourself. There we go. English. Got it out there eventually. But no, absolutely fantastic stuff, mate. You should be really proud of yourself.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for the great commentary all season as well, guys. You guys really, you make the racing what it is. It's excellent stuff all season.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, that was aimed at me, Nathan.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Of course, Josh. Oh, Harvey, mate, thank you again. And hopefully we'll see you again in the future.
Yeah, hopefully. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Brilliant.
And next we're going to bring in Leo Lund and Liam Angelo Craig, as Josh calls him.
Yes, Craig.
So bring him in. So first of all, we'll speak to Liam. Liam, I think it's your first time in an interview, isn't it, here in PSGL? If you can hear us.
Right.
If we can hear you.
He's starstruck. Well, that's okay. Oh,
Liam.
There we go.
Liam, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Perfect. Welcome in, Liam. I was going to say it's your first time being here in a commentary box here in PSGL, I believe. But this season, I mean, sum it up for us quickly. The final few laps there for Veloce Academy. What was you all thinking? You know, in the engineering room and just watching along to see who would take it away.
Actually, myself personally, I'm out right now, but I was having a close look at the VA chat, and it was all really, really intense. Like you could really feel the atmosphere like tensing as the laps closed down. And when we crossed the line, it was like euphoria, really. And this means so much for everyone in the team, considering our luck throughout the season. I'm just extremely, extremely proud of everyone involved this season. So yeah, just completely lost for words at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'd imagine that you are definitely lost for words. I mean, anything about the double stacks you've had this season? Do you know how many it was exactly? I know Will Gibson used to update me every day, but I forgot the number.
I think we're on 12 of 20 double stacks.
Oh.
So
Can't believe it.
Realistically, we weren't supposed to win. Realistically, but the drivers and their motivation and their consistent practicing, it just the level of dedication that these drivers have and the engineers as well to keep on going, even if everything's lost. It's truly a wonder to see. I'm really so proud of them.
Definitely. And of course, Liam, thank you for joining us for a quick chat. It's been a pleasure to speak to you once again, and go and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you again in the future. I'm sure we will. Josh, would you like to have a quick chat with Leo?
Absolutely.
Likewise.
I mean, see you in a bit, Leo. Leo, mate, where do we start out of that race? I mean, I feel like defensive driving, mate. For a person who used to get ridiculed for crashing, surely that's going to give you a bit more confidence that he was able to hold off TES, basically hold off the entire grid, work together in perfect unison throughout the entire race, secure yourself a 1-2.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good.
There
I'm
you go.
very happy I can do this performance when it matters.
Yes, absolutely. It's remarkable. And then qualifying pace, absolutely outrageous. I'm not going to pry and ask how much time you spent, but clearly worked. Not okay, right, sorted. So it was more of a tank. More of a tank is what we're saying. But no, I mean, overall, wrapping up a championship, getting a title for Veloce Academy, and being a huge part of that with your involvement over the season. How does that make you feel?
I mean, there is rounds I could have done better. There I could have gained a lot more points, so we were not that far behind. But I'm very happy I could just do this at the end and make most of it. And I'm really happy we won at the end, at least.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Nathan, I mean, I know you're going to be a little bit starstruck because every single time we're in the commentary box and Leo's racing, you're always singing praises and always saying how he's going to be the future. I mean, how does it make you feel being a full Leoland stan, one of his biggest fans? How does it make you feel knowing and seeing the level of improvement he's had through his game title?
I mean, it's been brilliant to see Leo, work his way through. Of course, I remember Leo used to get a lot of slating for his driving, the way he drove. I mean, I used to give it to him myself back, I think, like 4 seasons ago, and I'd be like, Leo, what are you doing that for? You're making a 3-wide move into turn 3 at Australia. There's no need. But no, obviously, Leo, you've come a long way, along with the team as well. The team have been behind you for a long time, and of course, along with your team members, been able to work together and just get these results. So I presume, as much as it is for the team a great moment, I expect for you as well, it's a brilliant moment to know that you've been a part of a team that's won the championship, and effectively, you was the one to do it with Angelo in the final race.
Yeah, it's cool.
You don't sound like you got much words for us here. Still starstruck of what's happened in that race, because I mean, I presume as well for you, I bet you wasn't believing it at any point that you was going to win it, did you?
I was not believing I was gonna do this performance, but yeah, I'm really happy I did that.
Indeed. So, Leo, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Of course, congratulations to yourselves and the team on the championship, and hopefully we'll see you again sometime soon. One quick question, actually: are you going to be in F2 next season? Are you going to race?
Yeah, I signed up for next season.
Well, we'll see you then. So, have a good one, Leo. Thanks for joining us, and congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Lovely lads.
All right, there we go, Josh. I mean,
mate,
what an ending. I did not go into that race expecting that sort of result. I mean, that has got to be one of the most... I mean, I'm going to say that's probably the most enjoyable race I've watched in a long time, if not my favourite to commentate ever in 3 years.
That's up there. That's clear.
It's
been remarkable.
I didn't expect any of it.
To be honest with you.
The fact Jan lost it by a couple hundredths of a second is insane, isn't it? Insane to think.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. We do have a request. It's from Will Gibson and Francie, who want to come join and share their thoughts as well. We bring them in? Yeah. Go on then. Lovely.
Will and Francie, hello.
Hi, Nathan.
Right. First of all, Will, quick thoughts on the finish. What was your mind going through?
What was your heart going
through? I mean, I felt like I was having a heart attack, which I'm not really. Was obviously not surprised.
Years, then, Will.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, for you as well, Francie. Was you engineering today?
Yeah, I had to.
And what was the plan? Was it to get Leo and Angelo to get a 1-2, or was it just to try and see what result you'd get at the end?
I guess it was to see what we could do and then hope TS was gonna do the result we needed to win.
Right, so I'll correct that. They had it all planned out from the start. It was a masterclass. They knew exactly what was going to happen. Francie orchestrated that 1-2 right from the start, dictated exactly what they were supposed to do, and then also decided to throw a rock at one of TS's front end plates just to ensure the damage was there. But yeah, no, realistically, as far as things go, how smooth of an operation was that for you guys? Was there much panic, or was it all calm, calculated? We're just going to focus on ourselves.
Well, we had to try and calculate the points. Yeah, when you have Leoland driving, you never know what's going to happen.
I mean, who was in the background doing the calculations? I hope it wasn't Will, because he probably had them
right. I was doing the calculations, unfortunately.
Did you get them right, Will, or did you ever go,
I did actually get them right.
Oh.
No, I didn't.
First time he's got them right, that's why we've got a 1-2.
Yeah. And also, comments on the double stack. Any words for EA?
Fits the game. The fact we still win a title with 10 double stats is disgraceful.
Oh, the ego's flying out now, Will.
There we go. Here we go.
But dear me. Anyway, Will and Francie, thank you for joining us. Have a good evening, and yet again, congratulations.
Thanks to you too for commentating.
It's been a pleasure.
Well done, guys.
Bye. Right. There we are. So, we could end it off, Josh. What a
There we go.
season. I mean, Veloci Academy, very happy, of course, expectedly, after that championship win. I mean, brilliant way to end the season. And the worst part is, we're not back this game. It's the last one. So it's the best way to finish it.
That little bit. I mean, yeah, sure, let's get going for Season 6. Never mind. Season 6 is going to be at the start of a new game cycle. Never mind. That's fine. We can wait. We'll just have to rewatch this race, won't we, at the end of the day?
Pretty much. Every single day
Pretty
we
much.
can watch it again. But Josh, before we obviously say our final farewells, any words from you before we head off?
Yeah, no, it's been a fantastic season. Here once again, a new series. I mean, a huge thank you to Connor for giving myself and you as well, Nathan, the opportunity to be here. Huge thank you to GT Omega for making this championship possible as well. And of course, all the staff at PSGL, all the stewards who work countless hours, staying up super late, kryptonite as well, for making sure everyone's done everything on time. All the drivers, of course, for coming and taking part. All of which, driving, interviews, whatever it's been, all of you have been so good, so respectful. All the engineers for sharing data, whether it's raining, who's on what tyres, absolutely everyone. It's a prime example of what happens when you have the very best of the community all coming together, working in a massive cohesive unit to make sim racing as good as it could possibly be. Of course, a couple technical issues on the broadcast side. We've had, I see, Nathan, your camera's still deciding it wants to be part of your nose.
Yes, I don't know what does that.
But overall, it's been absolutely fantastic. And everyone should be really proud of themselves, because this is exactly what grassroots sim racing should all be about. And let's face it, none of this would be possible without Connor. So
No,
once
certainly
again,
not.
thank you very much, Big Sue.
The man behind it all, who doesn't get as much appreciation as he deserves, of course. A big thanks to Connor, as usual, of course, to let myself join Josh. I don't know why I picked Josh, but yeah, for letting me be alongside Josh for the whole season. Hopefully, I'll get someone 10 times better next time, because it's not.
Oh, you might do. You might do. Might get 10 Joshes, mate. Careful what you wish for.
Oh, dear me. But of course, Josh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you again. It's been great to be alongside you, of course, and thanks to everybody in the chat that's been here every single race. Always putting their predictions in, always having a chat to me and Josh, and of course just interacting with each other. It's great to have you all with us. So for the final time on F124, E-Series is out. Good night.